Welcome back to Dom's Corner, everybody. I'm your host, Dom Martino, and today we are going to talk in-depth spoilers on The Mandalorian Season 2. Really excited about that. I am your host, Dom Martino, and today we are sitting down here with Ian Schick. Ian, how you doing today?
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. For them to continue to put Mandalorian back on the fucking TV. We need a season 3 right now.
And
Since he has cut me off.
Mr. Adam, I don't like the Beatles Leech. How you doing today, Adam?
I don't like the Beatles, Dom. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're welcome. What's that shirt? Is that Yoda in there? I just noticed.
No, that's actually
It's
Ringo
yogurt.
Starr.
Yogurt from Spaceballs.
That's
Right
it's
on.
Yoda.
Right on.
That's Ringo Starr.
May the Schwartz be with you, sir. All right, so let's get into this. And guys, before we start, please hit that like button below, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section. That is much appreciated. So we are going to talk spoilers today, but before we get into that, the first thing we're going to do is kind of give overall non-spoiler thoughts. So, folks, I'd appreciate Adam and Ian if you guys would not mention any character names or anything when giving your non-spoiler thoughts here. So let's get right into it. So Adam, overall non-spoiler thoughts on the episode or the season.
I really enjoyed this season. It was good. I think I liked it better than the first season. But I haven't watched the first season since it came out, so I need to go through and watch them over again. But yeah, you got some awesome new characters that we won't mention right now, but you got some awesome new characters. Got some pretty badass action. You got a lot of cute Grogu moments. I mean, what more could a guy ask for?
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm into it.
Grogu, which is a spoiler right there and then, but I mean, it's
You
fine.
son of a bitch!
That's not
You're
too bad.
fired.
Grogu, I mean, seriously, the cutest thing in the world. I mean, there's really nothing cuter than that child, and this season has proven that. It's incredible. But the other thing I wanted to say is, it is a lot closer than you think between season 1 and 2. I know a lot of people are really saying this is easily the better season. I would say the same, but I think it's a lot closer than people realize. That first season is also pretty damn good. I think this is the better one though, for sure.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, I just think it's closer than people are making it out to be, especially as now I've gone back and started rewatching season 1. I'm like, there were a lot of great moments here. So, Ian, what did you think of the season overall, non-spoiler?
Before I say anything, nothing's cuter than Grogu. Look at me. My name's Ian Schick. I'm offended.
This reminds me. I was just gonna say something earlier and I forgot. When you have your headphones on a certain way, it almost makes you look like you're bald. And sometimes I notice it and it makes me laugh.
And it's cute.
That's not what you're laughing. Thank you. So who's cuter, Grogu or Ian?
Right now, you.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
I'll
definitely.
take that. I'll fucking take that.
All right. Non-spoiler thoughts.
I'll take it. It was good. It was good. I liked it. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it, and I feel like I can't really say anything without spoiling anything. So it was a good old time, action packed and fantastic and story packed, and I'm still cuter than Grogu.
All right. Well, with that said, let me give my overall thoughts. Like I said, I think it is better than the first season. Not
By the way,
a
I do agree
lot.
with that statement.
Yeah, not by a lot, but it is, for sure. I mean, like Adam said, it gives us new characters, expands the lore, for sure. The adventure that goes on and the chemistry between the child and Din Djarin are really, really great. I mean, it's really incredible how much Pedro Pascal does as an actor without doing much, if that makes any sense. He really gives a lot of really great subtle performances throughout the season. There were surprises, as far as especially toward the end. It was just very damn emotional and incredible. I think that this is, if you take this season and put it into a vacuum, I think this is hands down the best Disney Star Wars we've had so far, for sure. And I think that it's just going to get even better with these other shows that are going to be coming out. Definitely, they use this season to make a couple of backdoor pilots, for sure, for some of the other shows that are coming out. But I really enjoyed that. It didn't take anything away from the season within itself. What are you doing over there?
Oh, he likes a good pilot knocking on his back door.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, that makes sense. But it's it's damn it. But yeah, so this is it definitely expands the Star Wars universe, and I like there's a lot of things in this season as well that I wanted to say. I'll say this: it feels very rewarding. If you've been somebody who's been keeping up with the animated shows and the comics and the books, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that's very, very rewarding for you, and I think you'll enjoy it for that reason. The other thing I wanted to mention is just the filmmaking alone. I mean, it's all incredible. I mean, every filmmaker that stepped on this season did a really, really great job. Jon Favreau, I mean, directed his first episode this season, even though he's written most of the show. Dave Filoni, I thought, directed the worst episode last season. He came in here and now did my favorite episode of the series, hands down. Which we'll get into more in depth with spoilers. I mean, Rick Famuyiwa was back. He had probably the weakest, but it's not a weak episode. There's not a weak episode amongst them. Peyton Reed is one of the directors that stepped on too from the Ant-Man films, and I thought he really did a good job, respectively. And we're going to talk about that too, actually, how impressed I was with his directing. Bryce Dallas Howard came back and had a substantially better episode than she did last season, I thought. And yeah, so just a really fantastic team of filmmakers. Oh, we can't forget Robert Rodriguez, who came in and made his own little gritty action movie, which you guys would, if you haven't seen it yet, you'll see what I'm talking about. So, anyway, fantastic. Oh, and I want to really quick here mention, I think one of the key players to making this season work, which was Ludwig Goranson. His score, I mean, this man just continues to impress me. There is a piece of music in the finale that blew my mind, like literally blew my mind, and actually probably a couple pieces, but his score is top notch. Yes.
His name is Ludwig?
Ludwig Goranson, yeah. Does a phenomenal job.
All right, modern day Beethoven.
I mean, I can't decide if the Mandalorian Season 2 soundtrack or the Tenet soundtrack is the better between the two, because they are both so damn hot. Like, and man, I mean, he's made, just with his score alone, two of my favorite albums of the year, and it's incredible.
He's a heck of a composer.
He's really becoming one of my favorites. I mean, it is one of my favorites. Not becoming, he is one of my favorites. He's already made his way into my top 5 favorite composers that for film and television. So, really, really awesome stuff, guys. So, hey, that's the non-spoiler thoughts for the Mandalorian Season 2. And now we will continue into the spoiler stuff. And the way we're going to do this is we are going to break it down episode by episode. This won't be as in-depth as some of our movie conversations, obviously, because we'll be here for 24 hours straight. But what I'm going to do is kind of do a very quick recaps of the each episode. And I will just go around and try to get some of the biggest takeaways from them and what you guys enjoyed about them. And we'll do it that way. And also, guys, I've been doing on Dom Solo with Josh Richards' individual episode breakdown. So if you want to hear these more in depth, you guys can go over there and check those out. So here we go. Spoilers, you've been warned. All right, so this first episode that we got was Chapter 9, The Marshal. This was the first one that Jon Favreau directed. This is the one where Mando goes to Tatooine, and obviously he runs into Cobb Vanth, who we find out is played by Timothy Oliphant, who has Boba Fett's armor. Mando needs it back, so he helps some Tuscan Raiders fight a crate dragon and makes the deal with Cobb Vanth to give the armor back. And at the end of the episode, we get the reveal that Boba Fett is still alive, without them saying that he is. But it was a pretty fun time. So, Adam, what were your biggest takeaways from Chapter 9, The Marshal?
I really enjoyed this episode. I like I like the moments in The Mandalorian where he's kind of off on his own, like almost doing like side quests. I like those moments, like where it's just him standing alone doing his thing. Obviously, it's awesome that we got to see Boba Fett's armor again. I think we suspected that something was going to come of that,
Mm-hmm.
and we were right later on. So that was really cool. I liked the action moments. All in all, for a season opener, not having the Mandalorian in like a year, I was really pleased with the episode. It was entertaining. It was all around just badass. I liked it. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while. I need to rewatch it. I need to go through and watch this whole show from top to bottom over again so that I can keep fresh on all the deets.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, yeah, I mean the Boba Fett's armor coming back thing was pretty cool. I mean, Jon Favreau is a massive Boba Fett fan, so we knew he'd be directing. If anybody was going to direct the episode where we actually saw Boba Fett's face for the first time, it'd be Jon Favreau, and he did a phenomenal job just directing this episode. And one of the things that, like, when Boba Fett showed up, I'll never forget, or Boba Fett's armor showed up on somebody. Me being somebody who's read the Aftermath novels that takes place around the same time, and knowing that Cobb Vanth was running around there with Boba Fett's armor, I was like, they better not go against canon here, and they better make a Cobb Vanth. I mean, it has to be Cobb Vanth. And then in my mind, I was like, no, they wouldn't bring in Cobb Vanth, would they? That's such a small character from those novels. But they honored canon, and yeah, they brought in Cobb Vanth with tweaking his backstory that he tells Mando just slightly from the book. But yeah, I mean, I was amazed, and I thought Oliphant did a good job as Cobb Vanth, and I want to see more of that character. I thought he was really cool. Ian, what did you think of that episode overall? What were your biggest takeaways?
I thought when they blew up the dragon, it was gross, and I loved it. I mean, one of my favorite things was the Tuscan Raider. The Tuscan Raiders are always amazing.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. All in all, I mean, you kind of watched that episode with me, I believe. I think I watched it.
That's
with
right.
You.
We watched it over Zoom together.
And
That's right.
I kind of passed out at the very end, so I had to watch the last like 5 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, you missed Boba Fett.
But I was just so tired after our other podcast that night. But no, overall, I thought that episode was fantastic. I thought it was a great start to season 2, and I can't wait for season 3.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, okay, and then let's talk about the Crate Dragon sequence, which was an incredible decision on Jon Favreau to take it from the, what he actually did, he took it from the widescreen to the full frame right there, and then he shot that in IMAX is what he did. And I thought it was really effective for the scene, and I thought that worked really well. The Tuscan Raiders were very cool. I mean, seeing them, like, that scene where the Crate Dragon just pulls up, like, 3 of them by the rope was amazing.
Just seeing the Tuscan Raiders actually working with people was insane.
I agree. I mean, it was very cool. Yeah, I mean, and that was the other thing is like, yeah, we never got to spend that much time with Tuscan Raiders. So, but by the time, I'm telling you right now, the game Knights of the Old Republic, which is no longer canon, the story isn't, unfortunately. I know they're taking a couple characters and making them canon again soonish, hopefully. But the Crate Dragon scene with the Tuscan Raiders, that reminded me of the mission in Knights of the Old Republic where you have to go help some Tuscan Raiders. Like, the vibes were there, man. Like, Jon Favreau played Knights of the Old Republic. There's no doubt about it after watching the episode. So that was really amazing and cool. Yeah, so what else can we touch on from that episode aside from, I mean, I thought that, like, it was cool to see, like, we went back to Tatooine, but we went into a part of Tatooine that we never saw, which was Mos Pelgo, and I thought that was pretty cool, too. It could have been any part of Tatooine, and we decided to see something new, you know, so that was cool. Well, if you're going to use Cobb Vanth, it had to be Mos Pelgo, so I get it. So I was happy about all that, and it worked out really well, and I like the how that town, for some reason, the sand looks a little more white in Mos Pelgo, and I really thought that was a nice little touch there.
Old Dom, he's got to have variance in the desert terrain. You can't have the same desert terrain over and over.
Oh, yeah.
Sand. It gets everywhere.
Oh, and
yeah.
I sent you that picture on Messenger and told you that I was in Tatooine. I spent the day in Death Valley, and I was at the sand dunes where they actually shot some of the shots for the original Star Wars movies. So that's why I
Oh.
sent that to you.
Oh, that was legitimately where they shot Tatooine?
I thought you were
Yeah,
joking.
Oh.
Tatooine was shot I think mostly in, I forget what part of Africa, but they went back to Death Valley to complete
That
some of their
that was actually
shots.
Death Valley. I didn't realize that when you
Yes.
sent them, so I'm sorry about that. No, that's very cool. I'm sorry, my reaction was an angry face when you sent that. It was just, I thought you were sending it to piss me off, like, oh, it's a sand planet kind of thing. I didn't realize it.
Adam, no matter what, you succeeded in pissing him off.
Now I'm kind of pissed I didn't know that, but that's awesome. The other thing I want to mention, the bartender that's in the cantina on Mos Pelgo is voiced by Mark Hamill, so I thought that was very cool as well. So let's get into well, I'm not sure what we get into here. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, so we're going to get into the second episode. Which was directed by Peyton Reed, and I can't remember the name of it, so give me 1 second. This was obviously chapter 10, and this was called The Passenger. This is the one where Mando, well, we start out, I liked how episodic it felt. We started out with him still being on Tatooine. It was, it was cool. It felt very episodic. We had a couple, like, rogue species just kind of chasing after him at that point, which I thought was very fitting. I don't know if they were sent by Boba Fett. Probably not. Didn't seem that way. That's not what some people got that out of it, but I did not. So we had that going on. And then I think... Oop, I messed something up here, guys. Hold on. I think that... after that is right when he takes off, and this is where the X-wing rebel pilots kind of fly after him. I thought it was really funny that in this season they kind of keep going over it, but it's like when you're a rebel right now in this galaxy, it's a little bit boring because you're pretty much an officer. That's kind of how it felt. Just dealing with bullshit things, which I thought was cool. But then we go onto this planet that they never really name. Which ends up being a planet that's infested with spiders. The spiders, pretty much, they go on this. They try to eat Mando and the child, and then rebel pilots come back and set them on fire. Also, something we should mention that he makes a deal with Peli Mata to bring somebody back to their home planet of Mon Cala. And they are going to, or it wasn't Mon Cala, I'm sorry, but it was a Mon Calamari, the species, and he had to bring the wife back to the husband to be reunited. That was part of the mission here. Adam, overall, what'd you think of the episode?
I really liked this episode a lot. I don't know, there was something special about it. Obviously, Grogu eating the frog lady's eggs is freaking hilarious.
People were pissed about that.
Yeah,
like they wanted to cancel the child.
Genocide! How dare they?
I thought it was, dude. He's like, I mean, I know technically he's not an infant, but he's basically an infant. I mean, he acts
has the
like
mentality
an
of an infant,
right? So it's like, how mad can you really be? He's like, ooh, food. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny. So if you're whining about that, lighten up a little bit. Like,
I agree with that statement.
Seriously, do you even know how to have fun?
No. The answer is
I thought
no.
I thought that was cool. Seeing the X-wings come up. Basically, he's getting pulled over by the feds. That's what it feels like. Like you said, being kind of feels like you're just an officer at that point. Like you're just pulling people over. Like that's what they feel like. They feel like they're just pulling people over. And the little chase that they had going down to that planet. I don't know what that planet was called, the ice planet, but that was really cool. And then those like spider creatures were like really badass. That whole scene was amazing, running from those spiders, and when they're in his ship and they're like coming in and he's got his flamethrower and everything. I really liked this episode a lot. It was probably one of my favorite ones of the season. So I I don't really have much negative to say about it because I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like this one. They thought it felt like a filler, and I guess I can understand that. But like at this point in Mandalorian, if we're gonna have filler, like let's see some spiders in the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? And let's make
By the way,
them really cool and creepy. Yeah, go ahead.
the spiders are called Revenkas.
Okay.
Revenax, my bad. And the planet is called Maldocres.
Oh, really?
Or Maldocres.
Oh,
Yes.
good to know. Very good to know. Thank you for looking that up. We don't have fact checkers here, but that was
It's on Wikipedia.
all right. That's exciting. No, that is very cool, and I know that we'd seen them in Rebels prior, but they obviously translated in a way that was much more scary here.
They're actually a different breed in Rebels.
Is that true?
Yes, they're called Krykna.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. Well, thank you, Ian.
Actually, it's called Kriker. Thank you
I
very
do
much.
say actually.
Why did you sound like a child version of Donald Trump when you just did that voice?
Actually,
I don't know. All I know is we gotta put the Krykers behind the wall. You're wrong for laughing.
Yeah,
I win,
probably.
you lose.
Oh, man, that was good. Got a kick out of that. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, sorry if my camera just did something, guys. But the
Wow, you just zoom. I didn't even know you were zoomed in.
I didn't know either all this time. You've been lying to us.
All right. What was I gonna say? I had a point to make about the episode. Yeah, I mean, people got overly pissed about the. It's okay. I'm glad you looked all that up for me. People got like overly pissed about the child eating those. What were they? Crackers? Crikers? What'd you call them? Ravenak?
No.
Ravenak.
The eggs. No, Ravenak is the arachne.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. The child didn't eat the spiders. Well, he tried to, remember? But initially he ate the eggs.
He ate one.
He ate one, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Okay. So either way, but I didn't really get offended by it. I didn't think it was all that, ridiculous. I mean, or out of the realm for the child. I mean, we'd seen him eat just everything in the first season, so made sense to
Basically like
me.
my cat.
Yeah.
Will eat anything at any time.
Yeah, and I agree. This is one of the more fun ones in the season, and I thought, yeah, it was cool to just expand and go to a different planet and just be. I was kind of hoping this ice planet was going to be Ilum, but I was wrong about that, which is okay. I mean, it's fine. It was a lot of fun. I liked when the Rebel pilots showed up too and just started. Blasting the hell out of the spiders. I thought that was cool. Rebel pilots, by the way, I don't watch the show, but the oh man, I wish I knew his name. The Asian one is from the show Kim's Convenience, and the other Rebel pilot is Dave Filoni. So in this episode, so that was a lot of fun. But Adam, to mention your point about the them basically being police officers, I just thought it was cool when he didn't have the right code, and then next thing you know, they're like, okay, go to a different channel, and then you just see the wings like open up, and it's like, oh yeah, Mando knows what's gonna happen here. He just speeds up. That was cool the way they did that. And Ian, what'd you think of the episode?
You bastards! You cover everything.
You know what? You're an asshole.
No, I thought the comment about them being police officers was really funny because I got the same sense. I was like, oh, there's a new sheriff in town.
They really have nothing else to
feds,
do.
man, always ruining the day.
Yeah.
And Mando having his paraphernalia on there. Paraphernalia being the eggs.
Yeah.
Grogu's like, shit, I'm about to be found out. No, I liked the episode. I liked the fact that they brought back like the type of arachne they had on Rebels. I'm glad to know that they're not the same arachne because that wouldn't have made sense. They're just a subspecies, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It gave me goosebumps because spiders are gross. and spiders are scurry.
Yeah.
I like, ew, that's nasty.
Yeah, I
And
was
that-
scared
I mean,
actually watching that episode a little bit. I don't like spiders on a normal day, and even when watching Mando, I'm definitely not gonna, you know. It's just,
I'm not gonna lie. Whenever his ship was like pretty much utterly destroyed, I was like, how is he gonna get out of this one? This is a little extreme.
Yeah, it was like when I used to drive my old Jeep Cherokee, and I would just limp to work every day. You never know if you're gonna get there or not. You're just
that's all
crossing your
Jeeps.
fingers.
That's all Jeeps.
Pretty much.
oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I was like, how's he gonna get out of this one? I had something else I was gonna say. I don't necessarily remember. So,
You know what was one of the cool things was when the spider, the biggest one, jumped on the ship. I thought it was
Yes.
cool, first of all, when it just brought it all the way down. Like, I thought that was crazy. But then when it was, like, on the windshield, the first thing I thought in my mind, for some reason, was in Guardians of the Galaxy. Not Guardians of the Galaxy, in Infinity War, when Thor jumps on the windshield, and Rocket's just like, wipers! Use the wipers! I was thinking that, like, the whole time. But yeah, also, but the spider did this thing where it was like he had a mouth, but he had like a mouth inside it, and I thought that was almost like a callback to
A
Force
mouth inside a mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
a mouth.
Imagine how much food you could eat at once.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It'd be a
Well,
lot.
let's refer to Ridley's aliens.
Yeah, no, exactly. It looked like the spider. It probably could have ate the ship. Honestly, the Razor Crest. But you know, the visual of it looked like a callback to the Rathars in Force Awakens a little bit. So I thought that was cool. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, this is more of a gripe. It's more minuscule, but it was something that I also had a problem with in the first episode. They got to do away with this Peli Mata character, the one played by Amy Sedaris. She's annoying as hell, and she is like.
I feel like we need our annoying characters though. And by the way, you just reminded me. So with this being like people referring to this as a filler episode, I mean, if we're gonna do fillers, Filoni being kind of like the ear in John Favreau's, being in John Favreau's ear, it would make sense that the fillers still make sense to the story.
Yeah. And it was a part of the mission, right? Like, it's like, if the quest is the story, right? Like, so if he's going to be going on this journey, like, things are going to happen along the way.
It's all character building.
I mean, imagine if Harold and Kumar just got to White Castle, like, super easy. We wouldn't have a movie. So it's like...
Imagine playing The Witcher with no side quests.
Exactly. And that's what this feels like.
Boring. Boring. Absolutely boring.
I didn't feel like it felt like a side quest to me. Like, honestly though, though, there were so many moments in The Mandalorian as a series that almost feel like the whole thing is like a side quest, because it all kind of felt new and it was like piecing together a story. So like as you're watching The Mandalorian, it all kind of feels like multiple stories. You're trying to figure out, you know, the new characters, the new timeline, what's going on. So it all kind of feels new. So I don't really mind that feeling. I think it's nice.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you brought up The Witcher, because that's exactly what they're trying to do, I think, is like, think of The Witcher, you know, like, you go on these side quests, but you learn so much more about the world, and that's exactly what this show does. It gives you side quests where you're learning about the world. I mean, and that's the coolest thing about the show. I think if it didn't have that, there just wouldn't be the same appeal to it. I mean, it's not the same thing. That's like what made it work in the first place. So we're going to have a couple fillery type episodes here and there, but like you were saying, Ian, Filoni, what his bread and butter is to expand this universe. I mean, you see it in the animated shows so much.
Can I make a comment about The Witcher real quick, about one of the side quests in the very beginning that people never pay attention to?
I guess if you want to waste everyone's time. Go ahead.
It's like 2 seconds. Never mind. Shit. I'll eat a dick.
No, go ahead.
So in Witcher 3, whenever you're in like the beginning in White Orchard, there's the fucking Novigrad soldier and the dude's brother, and you're trying to find the dude's brother, and the Novigrad soldier's legs are broken or some shit.
Wait, which game was this? Sorry.
Witcher 3.
Okay.
It's like one of the very beginning like side missions you can do. And once you find the brother, you find him with a Novigrad soldier, and if you choose, I think they automatically choose to spare him. Either way, if you choose to spare him, later on at the very end of the game, if you go back to White Orchard, you can find them in some fields working, and they're teaching him how to be a farmer and be a part of that area. And I think that's like one of the neatest things ever, because it's like over time they're in different places.
Yeah.
Side quests are awesome.
Yeah, they build the,
Yeah, I like side
it's
quests.
world building. Sorry, I'm getting a ridiculous text right now.
Like as in really long, or
No,
it's
just ridiculous.
completely out of context, makes no sense.
Just a bunch of bullshit. We'll just put it that way.
Like you just got a text about grilled cheese and feet or something.
Actually, no, funny enough, the text I have is very relevant to what we're talking about. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Grilled cheese and feet?
I love grilled cheese and feet.
Yeah, it might as
What
well
type
be.
of cheese and what size?
Might as well be cheese and feet, to be honest with you. But
Hey,
anyway.
Adam, next time you make a grilled cheese, will you step on it and send me a picture?
Sure.
Oh, hell yeah. I just grossed myself out.
Finish.
Anyway, so we're going to go into chapter 11, which is called the Heiress, which is directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. I was happy to see her back. I liked her episode in the first one, in the first season, the one where she did the village and all that, like where he met that woman.
Oh, with the walker?
Yeah, she did a good
Okay.
job on that one, and I was happy to see what she would do here, or I was excited to see what she would do here, and I thought she did.
I think that was my favorite episode from season 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I liked it. It wasn't my favorite, but I did like it a lot. Definitely a lot of samurai movie vibes in that episode, which I really dug. But so I was anxious to see what she did, and she actually knocks it out of the park. I actually thought this episode was substantially better than the one she did in season 1. Part of that might be due to a little character named Bo-Katan. So this is the one where he's still tracking those Mandalorian. Bo-Katan was... he meets Bo-Katan. If you haven't seen Rebels or Clone Wars, I'm sorry, but that character was in there, and it excited the hell out of me. And she was being played by Katie Sackhoff, which also excited me because Katie Sackhoff voiced her in the animated stuff. And yeah, so that was awesome. I mean, the action was great with the Mandalorians, but I won't get into that too much. But essentially, she ends up telling him at the very end of the episode, after they fight some Imperials on a freighter, to go seek Ahsoka Tano, which was another big surprise for the people who are fans of Clone Wars and Rebels. And Ahsoka Tano being my second favorite Star Wars character of all time, it excited the hell out of me and made me giddy. But I will save that for later. Adam, what'd you think of this episode? What were your biggest takeaways?
Let's see. Yeah, I enjoyed this episode. Obviously, yeah, you get some new characters introduced to the TV show, and there are some like cool moments, like where they're all fighting together that are pretty badass, especially when you get to see more stormtroopers. That's always cool. So they're on that freighter, they're battling the stormtroopers. That's all really badass. I enjoyed this episode. And then the moments, there are moments where it's like Bo-Katan and her little posse, her triage.
There you go. That's a good word. Good word, sir.
Sure.
My vocabulary is getting humonger.
My vocabulary is getting humonger. Anyway, there are moments where Bo-Katan and her triage, they're kind of like, it's like the moments where they're like first meeting each other, and they're kind of like knocking him for his old Mandalorian ways, for like not taking off his helmet and stuff like that. And I'm like, I will fight you. You leave this man alone. He is a national treasure. He can do what he wants.
Oh yeah.
So I like the episode.
In summary,
one of my favorite episodes, but I enjoyed it.
Actually,
in summary,
go ahead.
Adam just doesn't know who Bo-Katan is.
Well, that's why I wanted to make sure I asked that. So, your first introduction to Bo-Katan, I mean, what's your impression, I guess?
My impression is that she she looks like she totally looks like the girl from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah, she kind of does.
With the headband on and everything.
Oh, yeah.
When I if you look up a picture of her in The Mandalorian and then you think it's like, wow, it's literally like, what's her face? Mary? Is that her name in Dumb and
Yeah,
Dumber?
Mary.
It's like she just put on some Mandalorian armor and she's just, I'm looking for Harry and Lloyd at this point.
It's a fantastic set of Hooters you got there.
So obviously I'm not all caught up with the animated series. So I wasn't familiar really with her character before. Obviously heard of her, know of her, but don't know in depth about her. So this is my first real experience with her. So seeing her for the first time as someone that is fresh to the character, she's a little obnoxious.
Interesting.
Anyway,
I
real
don't
quick.
I don't like any of them, honestly. Like anybody in that group. My first reaction, I didn't really like any of them. I felt that they kind of felt self-entitled.
Interesting. Ian,
That's how they came off to me. Like giving him crap for what he's gonna do with his helmet, and they feel like they're copping an attitude with him.
Yeah.
My turn here.
I was going to ask
on a
Ian,
second.
what did you think when you saw Bo-Katan show up?
Sorry, that was my actual
Going
reaction.
all
So
Southern
you were
Belle
saying,
on
Adam,
us?
about them being
No,
obnoxious.
hold on, real quick though. Real quick though, I want to point out. I thought it was awesome. I was like, yes,
Yeah.
Bo-Katan. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever Din was like in that fucking like cage with the fucking fish, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Why are you fighting back? Why is he? And then when Bo-Katan showed up, I was like, thank God. And I realized who it was after like 2 seconds. I was like, holy shit.
When you saw the paint on the armor, yeah. I mean, not the
Yeah,
paint,
I was like,
but the
oh my
design,
God,
yeah.
it's Bo-Katan. That's fucking dope. One thing I want to say is a lot of people complained about Bo-Katan's armor having boobs.
Yeah, I know. That was a weird thing to me.
Okay, so here's a question I have to the people who have a problem with that. If you have boobs yourself, what makes you think that wearing a fucking chest plate is gonna fit, like with the fucking abs and pecs, is gonna fit right on you?
Yeah.
You want to
Remember when Batman had
Dark
nipples?
Souls?
Yes. Good times.
Do you want Bo-Katan to look like a cathedral knight from fucking Dark Souls? Is that what it's gonna please you?
No, but seriously, if someone has boobs and they're wearing armor, how do you give them armor and without making it look like they have boobs while making the armor comfortable?
It's not like they did that to just make. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, the character
was
has
not
sex
sexualized
appeal,
in any way.
but
yes, she does. But she.
That's for the actress. The actress needs room for her breasts. If she doesn't have room for her breasts, she's gonna go ow, and you're not gonna want to watch a whole episode of an actress going ow.
Or the armor is gonna be like really weird and boxy looking. Like they could take the boobs off the armor, but you would have to make the bottom half come out more, and then you just have this big boxy armor, like weird, like it's form fitting. It's made for comfort. Like
but it's also made to be sleek so that they don't fucking hurt themselves when they're trying to fucking do shit. They're gonna bump into themselves while swinging a fucking sword or a weapon or some shit. The only way they're going to make people happy is if they give them Cathedral Knight armor from fucking Dark Souls 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up right now. It is fat armor. Now, I would say the Wing Knight armor, but then people would be like, oh, now they're making fun of fat people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like some superheroes, like they always kind of have a bulge. Like, you're going to have a bulge, man. We've got a bulge down there. We're wearing armor. We're wearing tights. There's going to be a bulge.
Yeah. The whole point for the outfits is for aerodynamics or acrobats, I should say.
We need bulges for aerodynamic reasons.
We do, or else they won't go fast enough. We also need camel toes for that reason, too.
Yeah. So I'll say this about the episode. I mean, there was a lot of actually really little takeaways from here. The fact that Bryce Dallas Howard honored her father, Ron Howard, in the beginning there when Mando's ship was coming down. I mean, and literally it's verbatim what happens in Apollo 13, which I thought was a really really cool tribute. The other thing to take away from this is. I mean, there's a lot of little funny moments. I mean, when the child is eating his food and the thing pops out and grabs his face.
Little octopi.
Yeah, don't play with your food. And the child's looking at Mando like, are you serious? I thought that was funny. And he just looks back at his food. And yeah,
I like how we revisit it at the very end of the episode too.
Yeah. When you see that Mama Core eat the child, that was quite something. That scared the hell out of me. I was like, "Oh my god!" And then Mando goes down. It was kind of like you were just saying, Ian, just to further your point. I mean, and then Bo-Katan showed up, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Bo-Katan!" I was so excited about that. Couldn't believe it. She was amazing. I loved seeing Katie Sackhoff being able to play her role live action. I think she's a really good actress, so I think that she really deserved to play the character. I mean, she's a good actress in the sense of, you know, how she voices that character.
Quick interjection. I think I was confused the whole time why Din Djarin wasn't taking off his helmet, and then her coming in and explaining that he's from a different faction was like, thank God that gives me some explanation, because I was like, why the fuck did he just take off his helmet?
Yeah, they were talking about.
We see Sabine do it.
Well, they came from Bo-Katan came from Death Watch, and they didn't mind taking their helmets off from the very beginning. So there was that, and yeah, it's all about the factions and their beliefs and time period and all that. But
I know his faction's essentially just like the Watchers or the Crows from fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
they just get all adopted into it, which I think is a cool concept.
Yeah. You know, it was reported on too when we get into the Ahsoka Tano thing that Ahsoka would probably be showing up this season, played by Rosario Dawson. So that was something that was reported on prior to the season coming out. But you know, no, we were all waiting on that actual confirmation, and Bo-Katan just kind of gave it. She was like, at the end there, you know, you will go see Ahsoka Tano, and I think everybody just probably lost their shit who's a fan of that character. And I wanted to go into this Imperial stuff. Like the action was really cool. The fact that I mean, Titus Welliver was a cameo in here. I mean, he's a pretty popular actor, and the part where she said he said something like you might not kill me, but he will, and then he gets shocked. I thought that was cool. This is our first appearance of Gideon in the season as well, when we see Moff Gideon in the hologram. By the way, I love Ludwig Goranson's theme for Gideon. The dun, 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 dun. It's so cool. It's just so awesome, and it's. I
like your rendition the best.
Thank you. And
Dom just makes the best renditions.
Everything, I appreciate that. Everything that happens with the action, I mean, it's just so, I don't know, it's intense, man. It's intense. Also, we got to mention how adorable it was when that when Mon Cala saw her husband, and they reunited with each other. That moment was just adorable. Like, they played that very,
was
very
special.
well. That was. You could tell she hadn't seen him in a long time, and they were so happy to see each other. So that was really awesome.
I love Din. Din was like, "Don't do it. You know what we're talking about. Don't do it."
Yeah.
He tells the child. Grogu is just like, "Fine."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I was waiting for the guy to count the eggs. Like,
yeah.
Yes, I was too.
Yeah, they got home with the eggs. They must not have counted them. They agreed to watching this kid. So I mean,
there's something missing here.
I took a couple eggs. Oh well, he's adorable. We'll watch him.
I love how the eggs seem to replenish after he took them.
That might have been it. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, I mean, this is obviously, it's a big deal to see the live these animated characters or characters we only know from animation or books or comics, again, you feel really rewarded when you start to see like a Bo-Katan or a Cobb Vanth or whoever throughout the season. And yeah, I'm loving all of it. It's really great stuff. This one I am so excited to talk about. Let's talk about Chapter 4, The Siege. Now, basically, we knew. I mean, if you saw in the last episode, there's it's subtle, but you see something fly off of Mando's ship, and I remember going,
Chapter 13.
Oh boy, it's 12.
It's 12, isn't
It's
it?
12. It's 12.
Oh, it's 12. I thought you said 4.
No,
You're
I meant
both
episode
wrong.
4. Episode 4, Chapter 12, The Siege.
Rob.
I'm sorry about that.
Rob.
Very good. But yeah, I mean, this episode was directed by Carl Weathers. Oh my God, Carl Weathers is directing Star Wars, which is wild. Nice to see Dylan from Predator back. I mean, he really does a fantastic job in the show and a phenomenal job directing. This one is actually one of my favorite episodes in the entire series, 100%. To me, it just felt the most Star Wars of like all of them, or not, maybe not all of them, but you know, it felt at this point, it just felt the most Star Wars. And at the time, it was my favorite episode in the series when I saw it. I was loving this episode. Thought it was super cool. Carl Weathers did a phenomenal job directing this. This is the episode, again, Mando, something fell off his ship. He had to go get it fixed. He lands on Navarro with the child, and they see Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano, who I think does a good job playing this character, and Grief Karga, played by Carl Weathers. Always great to see. The blue guy shows back up, and we'll get into that in a little bit too. Then so he helps him out with the mission. I didn't really take this as he had to help them out to get the parts. I mean, they were kind of repairing his ship anyway. He was just waiting around, and he likes these people, so he's going to help them out, which I thought was pretty cool. He kind of owes him one too for helping him back in season 1. So I thought it was a pretty good ordeal going on. But and then we get some insight in this episode, obviously, about what is going on maybe in the sequel trilogy, perhaps. They might run into some experiments going on in this Imperial base, so that's going to be interesting to really dive into here. And then, at the end, Mando comes in, swoops in, takes out some TIE fighters. It's a big action extravaganza at the end, and I loved every minute of it. Adam, what were your overall thoughts on the episode? What were your biggest takeaways here?
Good episode, a lot of cool moments.
Save the cloning stuff. We'll get into that at the end of the discussion.
Okay, so I'll start with the cloning stuff. That was obviously cool, but then the whole chase, like with the stormtroopers and everything, that was a really cool sequence. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. Me too.
There's a lot of cool action in this one. Obviously we've had the conversation before. I don't like Cara Dune that much. I think it's that I have beef with the acting. I don't think it's either the writing or the acting. I don't know what it is, but it comes off a little cheesy every time I see her on the screen. I don't know what it is. Her character itself, I mean, she's a big badass gal. I mean, she can wield it. Like I'm scared of her.
I mean, she can hit me up.
So that's Ian's fetish. So
if you can beat my ass, I'm into it.
The character itself is cool, and
you can beat my ass, I'll give you a pass. Go ahead, sorry.
Hey.
The character itself is cool, and she's big and intimidating, and she's badass. For some reason, how the character is portrayed every time she's on the screen, she comes off a little cheesy to me, so she's not my favorite character, but that's personal preference, I guess.
Interesting. I desperately want an action figure of her. Ian, what were your biggest takeaways from this episode?
This was, I think, my least favorite episode of this season.
It's
not that it was bad. I mean, every episode, in my opinion, was great. Mm-hmm. It's just this wasn't like the one that was most notable for me, other than the cloning stuff that we were talking about that we weren't going to get into until later.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Which is fine. I love the fact that whenever the dude that was like the guild leader, I can't name his name. I love the fact that when he's turning the corner,
Grief Karga.
Okay,
Yeah.
Grief Karga. Whenever he's turning the corner into the lab, you can see somebody just standing in the background, their arms just peeking out. Somebody from like the directing crew. I love that.
Oh yeah, they somebody had posted a meme on or it was supposed to be from Wikipedia, and it was like Jeff Blue Jeans, and it went into a whole description on what he meant to the overall lore and everything. It was pretty
that's
funny.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it is now canon.
I wish I could find it, but I found it in a comment section, and somebody pointed out that they think it's an inside joke why stuff like this happens, because they made multiple references there were a couple references they made from Star Wars where because didn't the stormtrooper that hit his head, didn't that happen in episode 4? It was 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that happened in episode 4.
Yeah.
And then this guy in the shot in this happens in episode 4, season 2 of The Mandalorian. And then there was at least 1 or 2 more Star Wars examples that also coincided with the number 4. And then in Game of Thrones, remember the Starbucks cup was in a fourth
episode from season 8. That's true. That's interesting.
This person was like, I'm starting to feel like this is like an inside joke that they're doing on purpose.
I don't know. I feel like if it was, they would have not taken it out, and it's taken out now, so I don't know.
Oh, it's taken out now?
Yeah, they went back and took it out, so you can't see it.
Oh,
I'm gonna eat, by the way.
You're more than welcome to. See, when I saw that meme, I was at work and I was like, "What?" And one of my coworkers was just like, "What?" So I went back to the episode on my phone. I'm looking at it and I'm like, "Dude, it's right there." I lost my shit.
Yeah.
But no, overall, I mean, like, the episode was fun. I liked the fact that they pretty much made fun of the dude that Din had caught in the first episode of season 1. They just pretty much spent the whole time fucking around with him, making fun of him. Well, high tide, have fun.
Yeah.
High tide with the lava, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, like this episode wasn't super notable to me. It's just still a good episode, just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, to go off that, I thought Carl Weathers, and I can't remember his name, but the blue guy, that stuff was hilarious, to go off your point. Carl Weathers did a great job. He's so good in the show. I wanted more of him, but it's okay. I understand why we didn't get more of him. There was so much to cover after this, but I mean, the most notable moment, obviously, was when Mando swooped in to take out the ties. Adam was kind of talking about how the chase was awesome. So when Mando swooped in to take out the ties, or as Adam would like him to take out his cat right now, but that moment was cool. The way that Ludwig's music just kind of swelled in there, and it was amazing. He comes in with the child, and then he does that. It's almost like a callback to The Last Jedi when Kylo was spinning his ship. Mando did the same kind of thing, and it was awesome. And incredible stuff. And how adorable was it when Baby Yoda was having the time of his life, and when he was going in circles. That was cool. But the other takeaways right at the very end, I wanted to make sure we mentioned this too. We find out that this made me emotional, actually, is when we found out about Cara Dune. It was, well, we knew she was from Alderaan, but when she was asked about it, and he said, did you lose anyone? And she said, I lost everyone. I thought that was done so well, and that actually made me emotional, knowing, obviously,
Cara Dune hit me up.
Obviously, no.
I'll reconnect you with everybody.
He would destroy you.
I know, and I want it to happen.
Oh boy, this is worse than blue milk. But so when we get to the end of it, though, we get this really cool thing that I've always wanted from the show, which was one of those really cool, what I like to call Imperial transitions, where we transition into one of the Imperial ships and seeing what the Empire's doing for a little bit. We got a lot of those in Empire Strikes Back, and I thought that was cool that they kind of used one here. And we got to see what Gideon's doing, and we saw the tease of the Dark Troopers and him saying that they were going to track them, and Also, want to make sure that we mention. I thought the other thing that was cool was when they went into that classroom and you got the. I like to call them human resource droids, but it's a protocol droid like a 3PO, and I thought that was really really awesome to see one of those. And it's just the rest of the episode. I mean, the chase was great. I laughed really loud when those two speeder bikes just crashed into each other. I thought that was hilarious. I got some New Hope vibes when they were in the chase. I mean, just the way that like Cara Dune like slammed that speeder bike into the rock beside her, and then she went woo. Like it just reminded me of New Hope a little bit, and the whole thing just felt like
Cara
very
Dune.
very Star Wars to me, and I applaud Carl Weathers for taking this one on, and that was awesome.
I applaud Cara Dune.
I'm sure you do. So when we move into the let's move into this one aspect of this episode where the hologram pops up of Dr. Pershing, kind of talking about how they need the child, they need the midichlorians, and nobody really likes that word, but that's what he said. So they needed the child's midichlorians to do whatever the hell they're doing over here. And if you look in the tanks, personally, I saw something that looked like Supreme Leader Snoke when I paused it and looked at it. Adam, what are you thinking about this?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I know that we had that conversation before, and kind of linking the sequels together with this, and I definitely feel like there's gonna be some connections, some linkativity. It's not a real word. It's from How I Met Your Mother.
That's a real word then.
Linkativity. Yeah, I don't think it's unreasonable to have the theory that they could be making Snoke clones. I don't think that's an unreasonable theory.
Well, Snoke is a clone, right? I mean, essentially, that's
right.
Yeah,
right. I mean, you see in the final movie, like you see him like floating around in a tank or whatever. So I think we can assume that there's multiple. So here, yeah, I think it's safe to assume that the theory isn't that far from reality. It's not that crazy. And I would like to see it connect. I would like it to be true.
Yeah, and I mean, I wanted this show to be, divorced from the Skywalker saga. Not in the sense that, like, it's not in the same universe, but just to where it's not being referenced all the time. Because I like that it stands by itself. But funny, I say I wanted it to be divorced by the Skywalker. We'll get into that. But the thing
yeah, I have some feelings.
Yeah.
I have some feelings about that too, because I like it. I like it to be its own thing. I feel the same. Like I want it to be kind of divorced from the saga, but I am 100% behind making connections to the newer movies and and reconnecting with the older series. I'm more than happy to see that. What I don't want to see is I don't want it to turn into a Skywalker saga series, like where we did have this cool show that was all on its own and it was all new and it was fresh and there were so many new characters, and now all of a sudden we've got characters just flowing in from the Skywalker saga stealing the show. I don't want that at all.
No.
So I feel similar to you.
Absolutely not. I mean, but on that same point, it makes sense. I think at some point here, being 5 years after Return of the Jedi, we're going to have to see the transition from the Empire into the First Order. We're just going to have to see that kind of happen, and we're going to have to see Mando kind of evolve with that world, I think. And I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's probably going to create a lot more obstacles for the character in the future if we see that transition into the First Order. And I think part of that is Snoke. My theory, and this is especially because I've been rereading those Aftermath novels. That's a great trilogy. If you guys haven't read it, I recommend it. But my theory is, especially after reading those, I actually think Palpatine is already alive. I think that they're trying to make him Snoke right now. I think that that's what they're doing. I think those were all failed Snokes in the back to tanks. Ian, what's your kind of theory here on the cloning of Snoke, and what do you think's going to happen with this?
Death.
I don't really have too much. I mean, I think you guys just covered everything that I felt. I'm going to be really, really honest with you. I mean, you guys pretty much just covered everything.
Yeah, I mean,
not to be like I don't have an opinion, but I mean that's pretty much my whole thoughts is.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that do you think they're cloning Palpatine, or do you think that they are cloning Snoke, and that they've already gotten Palpatine back?
I feel
that was
like
my second thought.
I feel like they're reviving Palpatine while cloning Snoke.
Yeah, I do think Palpatine's alive in some form right now.
Yeah, I feel like Palpatine is pretty much just like a Saiyan in one of those resting tubes things they got in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, definitely. Let me reference this though, because in the novel Aftermath Life Debt, and this is kind of what I was getting at, where I think Palpatine is still alive, is there's a part where, well, the whole mission in Aftermath Life Debt is the crew that kind of gets built up in the first book. This is the second book of that trilogy. Is that their whole mission is to Princess Leia sends them on a mission to go get Han Solo after he goes missing, and they go grab Han Solo, and then they have to go get Chewie, and they have to fly through the system, kind of like in Rogue One, where they had to kind of make it through the shield, and they're talking to the Empire, or they're communicating with the Empire. Han Solo is actually in the Falcon, and he's on this planet, and he says they try to disguise themselves as basically a delivery ship, and somebody that's making a delivery to the Empire. And one of the Imperials that's on the communications thing says that Emperor Palpatine is requesting that no ships go through right now. That's which I found to be really interesting. And Han Solo says, "Oh, I thought he was dead," and then the Imperial in the book says, "Oh, you would have believed wrong there." So I found that to be really interesting. So I think, and that takes place a little bit before Mandalorian is the point, and I think that Palpatine's already still alive because of that. So I don't know, just interesting stuff. But let's move into. Was there anything else you guys wanted to add on that, by the way, before we move on?
I was just gonna say my second theory, if it wasn't Snoke, or if they hadn't planned on it being Snoke, was that maybe Palpatine is alive, but he's not exactly powerful. And
I don't think he's powerful. No.
Right. That was my theory, was that they're trying to basically revive him, or maybe even create some sort of body that he could then put himself into, like some sort of reincarnation sort of deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he's powerful either. He let a man in a half robotic suit throw him over a ledge.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
No, but here's another theory too, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The Battlefront 2 campaign, which takes place immediately after Return of the Jedi, immediately after, is Palpatine has these little hologram messages going around and giving people orders too. So he might just be alive in that capacity, and he might be given the orders on how to bring him back. You know what I mean? It's okay, here's what you need to do. Here's how here's the ingredients you need to get me back alive here. You know what I mean? And it could just be in these all hologram messages as contingency plans. So that's a possibility also. That's what I'm thinking.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice. Those are the
exactly.
ingredients they need.
I'm sure.
Palpatine is the Powerpuff Girls.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I wouldn't mind seeing a Palpatine cameo at some point in the show. That could be kind of cool, just for a quick little thing. But let's move into chapter 13, episode 5, The Jedi, which is my personal favorite episode in the entire series so far. Holy shit. This is amazing. Dave Filoni directed this one. He has now directed the best episode in the series, much better than Hey Mando, so I'm very happy about that. So moving into this, let's talk about it. Obviously, we know Mando's going to see Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka pops up there in the beginning. We get a nice little introduction to her. Good introduction, I think. Great way to introduce her to people that haven't seen her before. Not personality-wise, but just to show how badass this character really is. I mean, she's going through the woods. It's a fucking horror movie. She is slaughtering people one by one. This is also the episode where we find out that the child is Grogu. A lot to unpack there, and that he was actually one of the Jedi training back in Coruscant during the Clone Wars. Holy shit, a lot of information kind of being given here. And that's one of the things I liked, is that Ahsoka Tano wasn't just thrown in to be Ahsoka Tano. Like, she was thrown in to be used for the story, give information, and it wasn't just a thing. Rosario Dawson does a phenomenal ass job, in my opinion, playing this character. She killed it, knocked it out of the park. What a performance. You can clearly tell that she was doing most of these stunts with the lightsabers herself, which means she did some extensive training. That made me very, very happy. There's a shot in here. I just want
It's
to point
almost
this
as
out.
if she was preparing herself for something bigger.
Exactly. You just knew we were gonna have to get an Ahsoka series right after this. But
yes,
one of the things that there's just this really cool shot, and I just want to be. It's a subtle thing where she's just standing with the child in front of the big moon. It's just gorgeous, man. Gorgeous directing going on here, and the cinematography all around looks like a fucking samurai movie mixed with Game of Thrones, and it looks incredible. I mean, when she is, oh my god, when she goes up, I mean, I'm going to get into my overall thoughts here in a bit, a little more in depth, but basically, then we get the reveal, and this is going to mean nothing to Adam. It will eventually, but right now, that she is looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, of all people, so we know Thrawn is alive out there in a well somewhere. That's a big deal. A lot of information going on in the episode. She fights with the lightsaber. She tells Mando that she cannot train the child to go to the Seeing Stone on Tython and take the child there, and he can reach out through the Force and find a Jedi. Adam, what were your biggest takeaways from this episode?
This was probably my favorite episode. Might be my favorite episodes in the series so far. Just a
mine as well.
Mine as well. Really good episode.
Easily. Yeah.
So obviously, I haven't watched all the animated series, so this was my first real introduction to Ahsoka Tano.
I gotta ask you real quick here. When you started it up and you see these people running through the woods, because you had no idea what to expect from this character, so when you see these people running through the woods, she's coming in with the sabers. I mean, what was your reaction to that? I mean,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's badass. It's awesome looking. So this was my first real introduction to her. Now I've seen my cousin was watching. He was a huge fan of both the animated series, so he was like binging through that. So I have seen bits and pieces of some of like the Clone Wars, and so I was familiar with her character. I have seen her before. So I wasn't completely in the dark about it, but this is my first real introduction and getting a sense of her personality, her abilities, and stuff like that. So badass. It was awesome. Like you said, knocked it out of the park, acting and the stunts and all of that. Really cool. This is just like A1 Star Wars right here. And as you said, as far as like directing, cinematography, like very samurai-esque, a lot of really dark, like it looks cool. It feels really cool. It feels really artistic. Everything has a purpose. It feels like it was put together really well. It has something about it. And what I was just gonna say something and I just forgot what I was gonna say.
Did my balding forehead distract you?
I mean, it's
Dang
so,
it, Ian.
I'm sorry. It's so cool that I feel like we're probably all just as excited to talk about this episode, just even from, I mean, as we were the moment we'd seen it. I mean, it's one of these episodes that, it's one of these moments in Star Wars history that I think is going to be unforgettable. Let me dive in too. I mean, like I said, I mean, what a hell of a way for you to be introduced to Ahsoka Tano. And I'm glad you like her, because this is my second favorite character, I think, in all of Star Wars, and this episode verifies that for me. I mean, being introduced to her this way was so cool. I mean, getting this rendition, seeing Rosario Dawson just destroying this character, it almost makes me want to cry, because, you know, no disrespect to Ashley Eckstein, I think that this is my new favorite rendition of this character. And she really gave a wonderful performance, and a wonderful thing to Star Wars fans. And I think that this is, if you take this episode alone, it's definitely the best Star Wars since Empire. Just this episode alone, it's incredible.
It's definitely good stuff. And I thought of what I was gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, this episode as a whole, it just feels, it just, not that the rest of the series doesn't feel special or feel artistic, but this episode has a specific artistic flair, and it feels like everything was pieced together like carefully by an artist, and from, you know, the cinematography and all of that, to the acting and the stunts and all of that, to just the way that the story comes together, and you get emotion from it, because this is like the first real time that we see that there is a real bond between Din Djarin and Grogu, that they have a genuine bond. And this is the first time that we kind of admit to ourselves, oh, okay, they're gonna have to separate at one point, and this is gonna be heartbreaking. So I really appreciate that they took the effort to build up this relationship between them and inject emotion into it, because that's what I like the most about movies, is not only when they can look cool and the acting can be cool, but when they can make you feel something and really expand the story and the characters in your mind. And you know, we had talked about before, that's what was special about the sequels, was that not only was the technology good in the sequels, but they got more intricate with the storyline and were able to, you know, make parallels with the originals, and were able to invoke some emotion in you. And so, you know, you and I had talked about multiple times about how artistic we feel that the sequel movies are, and this felt like that to me. But I mean, maybe even a little more special. I mean,
yeah.
So all in all, this episode is just, it's beautiful. It's a good episode. Favorite one.
Yeah. Are you sold enough on Ahsoka that you can't wait to see more, or is it one of these things where it's like, I have to see more to be more sold?
Awesome. Go watch
I'm
Rebels
excited
right now.
I'm excited. Oh, we're gonna start here soon. I already convinced her to start, because I wanted to watch for a while, but I literally almost never watch anything by myself. Well, actually, I never watch anything by myself except for when I'm doing your show and I have to watch stuff. I only watch stuff with Megan basically when it's time for bed. So because I do other stuff and I don't like spending a lot of time watching TV, because I have other stuff that I prefer to do. But so it kind of had to be done with her. So I had to persuade her to want to watch the series so that we could start watching it. So I think I've convinced her. So we're going to start that pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited about that, because I've wanted to watch it for a while. Just one of those things that you just say, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
I'll get to
Start
it.
with Rebels, because once you see Rebels, you're going to be almost forced to go back and watch Clone Wars to fill in some of that backstory.
It's really hard to get through Clone Wars. I'm not going to lie to you.
The first two seasons are very difficult to get through, because they're not that great.
I've seen part of Clone Wars. I've seen part of the first season, because my cousin had started watching it, actually, I think when he was at my house. So we actually watched part of the first season together. So I like Clone Wars. From what I had seen, I like it. So I think I'll be able to get through it. I don't know how much she'll like it, but I know I'll probably like it.
Well, how about this? Start with Rebels, because it's the one that's going to be more relevant to what's going on now and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, the mention of Thrawn, you're not going to find that out till you see Rebels. I mean, what all that's about. I mean, Thrawn's a very big deal. It's a big deal that
Big
he was
old blue
mentioned here.
snaky man.
Yeah, big deal he was mentioned here. You'll see why.
A snake.
Sorry, I had to.
It's all right.
That's like one of my favorite things he's done is.
Oh yeah, no, it's all right. I get it. But yeah, I mean, I was excited about that. Let me dive into one of my thoughts, then we'll get to Ian's thoughts on this. But well, Ian, I'll let you kind of go into it because I'm sure you're excited to talk about it.
Thank God.
Talk about my new third favorite lightsaber moment at the very end there, and how badass and dope that was.
I'm going to talk about the whole episode because I feel like I've earned this right.
Do you, Bubba?
Okay, so I loved this episode. I loved how the very beginning felt like a Japanese samurai horror movie. I thought it was interesting they chose to introduce her at the very beginning of the episode. I honestly feel like that was a weird move, honestly.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect these sabers to just come out. Whoa, we're in.
Yeah, I didn't either. And whenever they did, I was like, okay, weird flex, so I dig it. And then they showed her face. I was like, even weirder flex, but I dig it more. And then something that was pointed out to me, we're going to jump ahead here, to the point where, like, you know, she's talking with Grogu, or I guess telepathing with him. I think you pointed out to me her owl, like the owl that follows her, is also in the background there. So I thought that was fucking neat.
Yes, the owl was cool. Yeah.
And then going to the very end of the episode here, where they're liberating that little area. I don't remember the name of this place. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm brain dead tonight.
Yeah.
As always, I'm always brain dead. Just spoiler alert for everybody who ever watches this show. I'm always tired and I'm always brain dead. Anyway, so I loved that Western vibe between Din and also, I don't remember his name, but the actor I remember. And this is something Mark Earhart had pointed out to me, and I love this. The actor for Johnny Ringo did this.
Yes, Michael Biehn. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Michael Biehn.
And Kyle Reese in Terminator. He was Kyle Reese in Terminator, so that's dope.
That was the other thing I couldn't think of. So I love the reference they made in this between the scene of Johnny Ringo and Doc Holliday. I love the reference that Michael Bihn's character makes.
Yeah.
And then now that we've covered that part, because this was a cool part, I loved that. We get to the samurai section because you got that Western section because, you know, Dave Filoni, and then we have
yeah, you pointed that out to me. I thought that was amazing. You pointed out to me how it was like a Western movie on one side of the wall, the other side of the wall was a samurai movie. That was cool.
Yes,
that's so Dave Filoni.
That.
That's so something Filoni would do too. But go ahead.
It was a spaghetti, a Japanese spaghetti Western.
Yeah. It was.
Anyway, getting to the big part here. Ahsoka fighting the stupid Citadel bitch. I don't remember her name.
Magistrate. They called her the Magistrate.
The Magistrate. Citadel bitch. Who cares? She had a big old Beskar staff.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say.
What'd you think I was gonna say?
She had a
big old Beskar cock.
Big old booty. Like just knowing you, that's something you would say. But go ahead.
I thought he was gonna say something different.
What did you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna say she's got a big old dick. Which is even more out of left field.
That staff was pretty long. Like, let's be honest.
God damn it. Hold on a second. Hold on a fucking second here. Since this is the route this is going, we have to do this now.
What?
Anyway. So
oh,
she has a big old Beskar staff, and Ahsoka's coming at her like, "You're gonna tell me the things I need to know," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And
oh, there we go. Oh boy, the chaos has started.
Perfection. So anyway, she has that big old Beskar booty and staff, and they're fighting. And oh god, the choreography here is amazing, absolutely astounding.
Yeah.
God, I'm kind of wetting my panties as we're talking about this.
Will you get rid of those guys, please? No more distractions.
I don't see the problem here.
Because you look like
it's because you're aroused, isn't it? You
That's
don't want to
exactly
get
what it was.
aroused on the show.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, go ahead, Ian.
I'll show you in hell, Trebek. Anyway, so that fight was amazing, and then after she kicks her fucking stupid Citadel Magistrate bitch ass, she's like, "Where's Thrawn?" And I was like, and I nut.
All right. No, I'm with you.
I'm so sorry, guys. This is how this is the direction of the episode tonight.
It's all right. Adam, how cool was the sound of those lightsabers, though, of Ahsoka's? I mean,
Oh,
I'm sure you had to be
awesome.
blown away by that.
Yeah,
I was too.
I think that was one of the first things I mentioned there.
Yeah, I mean the way that translated, because that was pretty much the sound of them in Rebels. I mean, the way that they translated that. Ian, what do you think? Do you think they did a good job with that? The translation of the lightsaber sound.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here we go again.
We're about to see his long staff be coming up out of
Make me
nowhere.
reach for it.
Oh, please don't.
I was gonna say when you were talking about the episode starting and them revealing Ahsoka Tano like at the very beginning, and you see her lightsabers. If I had to break that down into like, if I had to break that down into like one short clip or one meme of what is going through everybody's minds in that moment, it would be Kramer going, "Giddy up."
So true, man.
It's like, oh, this is how we're starting. Okay.
No, man. I mean, just the way that it was so cool, and what this also sets up. Let's keep in mind is like how strong Beskar is. I don't want to forget that moment where Ahsoka's just hitting Mando with their sabers, and it's like, oh, Beskar can really handle lightsabers. I wasn't sure how that would play out when he was going out there to fight her. So that was an interesting thing, but it makes a lot of sense.
That kind of blew my mind.
But it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because Beskar was used to fight Jedi. I mean, back in the day when the Mandalorian and the Jedi Wars were going on. So it made a lot of sense to me that it would do it. I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, well, one hit. How's he going to go get Ahsoka? One hit with the sabers. He's done. There's his long staff. So we...
It's not a staff.
The staph infection.
No, it's not a staff.
It's a lightsaber. I actually have my Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker one around here somewhere. It's pretty cool, but... yeah, so that was cool. And then it really, like, obviously when Mando ends up inheriting the Magistrate's staff, we know that that's going to end up being used later, somewhere along the line. And it really sets up a lot just right then and there. And, oh my gosh, the other thing I want to mention again, we got to keep talking about Ludwig Goranson. The theme that he put in for Ahsoka Tano is the same theme from the animated series, except he put his own little spin on it and elevated it even and made it better.
Yes.
I mean, Adam's face right now. But the shot, the shot of...
Sorry, this episode was orgasmic for me.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely, man. I mean, the shot of Ahsoka alone, when she's coming up to the Magistrate and she goes in there and you just see the fog. The fog is so cool. And it's like, this is a samurai movie we're watching right here. Also, when she climbs up the wall and she takes out all those guys, dude, and like she cuts the bell in half, and I think she cuts the bell and the dude at the same time even. It's pretty dope. And the other thing I like about this is we never really saw a character wield two lightsabers in live action before, have we? That's another really awesome thing. So, oh my gosh, everything about it is amazing. I think
I liked the droids.
The droids were from we saw some of those in Rebels too, right? Those droids?
I don't think so.
What droids were those? I know we've seen them somewhere else, but
they're like the H something. They were like H3 something.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those were really cool. I love the Lothcat. We got to mention the Lothcats we saw.
Yes,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, the Lothcats.
Adam's like, what the fuck is a Lothcat?
That's what I was thinking just now. He took the words right out of
I
my
like
head.
cats.
Yeah,
You'll love Lothcats. They're ugly
yeah.
little shits.
They are, but they're cool. But yeah, so that was another nice little reference. I mean, there's so many things here. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm trying to touch on all of it, but it's just amazing job, Dave Filoni. Basically, people were like shitting on his Tatooine episode in the first season. He said, "Hold my fucking beer. Here we go." You know, this is because he did. He had the weakest episode of the whole series and the best episode of the whole series, now in my opinion. And yeah, man, it was all gravy. You know what I mean? It was really, really nice. It was a nice touch to put in the middle of the season, and it
Perfectly buttered toast.
it served as a wonderful backdoor pilot for Ahsoka, and I'm so excited to see what comes of this, and to see this series, and to see this adventure to grab Thrawn, I guess, and possibly an Ezra Bridger, and we could see a live action Sabine Wren. This is just everything I wanted, and it's going to serve as a sequel to Rebels, essentially. I think this Ahsoka series. So,
Way to give away that your lightsaber isn't real, Ian. Loser.
yeah,
No, my skin is just made out of Beskar.
yeah, you're still alive. I don't buy you.
My skin's made out of Beskar, you cucks.
Prove it.
Also, real quick too, the Magistrate, very, very cool character. I thought the actress that played a really good villain as well. I mean, she just did a good job. I can't think of her. She is actually, you know what? She is. I found this out after the fact. She is Bruce Lee's daughter, the actress that played the Magistrate. So that's pretty cool.
She looks pretty white though.
You thought so?
Yeah, she looks really white.
I thought she looked Asian to me, but not that it matters. I mean, but she's Bruce Lee's daughter, so pretty
Oh,
cool.
hold on. I remember like talking about this episode with somebody. I think it was on this podcast, and I was like,
Possible.
man, that whole time she's like getting ready to fight, it looks like she's kind of constipated in the face.
Yeah.
Because she's like making faces like,
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to point out here. Jesus, we got to cover this though. When Ahsoka's going off and just taking the people out one by one, that was amazing too. And she's just doing her own thing. And it kind of made me wonder why the hell she needed Mando there in the first place. But I guess to distract them and just be like, oh, I got your Mandalorian I got your bounty hunter. I guess that was the real only point. But the thing was, I mean, it was one of my favorite lines too was a Mandalorian and a Jedi. They'll never see it coming. I mean, that was pretty cool. And yeah,
Well-
I mean, her taking the people out one by one. I like that little bit where she kind of pulled her sabers apart. We'd seen that play out in the animated stuff too. So that was awesome. Yeah, just amazing stuff. And then I like the sound effects too. I want to make sure I mention the sound design of when she's fighting the Magistrate, and we just hear the lightsaber. We see the sparks coming off the lightsaber and the Beskar, and the sound that's going on there is really awesome. So yeah, I think I covered that. Anything
all right,
else
guys,
anybody
that was
wants to
season
add?
2.
Anything else?
That was all that
anybody wants to
mattered
add?
from season 2.
Or no?
Oh,
Okay.
that about did it.
All right.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
that was the wrap up for season 2.
All right, so let's move into chapter 14, The Tragedy. This one was directed by Robert Rodriguez. I was very interested to see what Robert Rodriguez did and brought to the season. So basically,
And he did fantastic.
I mean, we're
Robert
going
Loggia.
right into it.
Remember that Family Guy episode?
No.
Robert Loggia.
Yeah, I do. I remember that. I remember it. We're heading straight over to Tython. We're going to take Grogu to the Seeing Stone. He sits up there, starts to reach out through the Force, I guess, and then Boba Fett, we find out, has been tracking Mando. Makes a lot of sense because he has his armor. And this episode is an action movie, but also to me, and I got to say this, I have never been a big Boba Fett fan, and this episode, not just the action, but the personality they added to Boba Fett really made me start to like this character, and I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm glad we get to have that here. And actually, this is the thing, I was cool with Boba Fett coming back from the beginning because I was like, well, now maybe you can win me over on this character. I'll tell you what, this is exactly what they did here, at least started to with this episode. And but the action was awesome. And talk about a very, very well directed episode. I thought Robert Rodriguez knocked it out of the park. It was very gritty. It felt cheap, but almost like it was cheap on purpose. Also, this is the first episode they'd ever done that was shot on location, which gave it that really cool kind of practical feel to it. So I thought that was cool. And then we also had, excuse me, I mean, we find out that Fennec's alive as well. She's kind of half human, half droid. I'm going to get into that here in a little bit. That's kind of one of my gripes with it. But, oh well, it's very minuscule again. But, like I was saying, this episode really, really destroys. I think it's one of the better directed episodes in the entire damn series. And it really was a lot of fun to watch. But the big detail here is at the very end, the child gets taken by dark troopers. So Adam, what'd you think of this episode? What were your biggest takeaways?
I really liked this episode a lot. In fact, while I was watching it, I was in my head going, which one do I like best? Well, when I sit with it, I definitely like the previous one the best, but this one, it could come second because I really, really liked this episode.
It was a toss-up, at least at the time for me. It was a toss-up.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun to watch. You got some suspense there when Grogu is sitting there and making that connection, and then you see Slave One coming in, and you're like, "Oh shoot,
yeah,
that's Boba Fett." I think everybody knew in that moment what was happening.
Of course.
And you're creaming your pants a little bit, and so it's cool to see Boba Fett again. I feel the same as you, Dom. We've talked about that many a time in the past about how there has never really been a legitimate reason to be that big of a Boba Fett fan. He did not show up very much in the originals. His character was very anticlimactic. Yes. So I have never understood why people have latched onto his character so much. It's kind of bizarre, and usually it's the same type of people. It's usually people that are like head over heels for the Punisher, because it's like. Are
you saying Mark is head over heels for the Punisher?
At least
Mark
at
loves
least
the Punisher, I'm sure.
Oh my god!
I'm sure he does. It's like, at least in America, the only thing we like more than a hero is a murderer.
Or Superman in Mountain Dew.
We love murder in America, especially if there's money involved.
It's true.
So it's like he's a bounty hunter. He kills people for cash.
Especially like when the murder's set up as suicide.
Well, this episode answered.
Sad because it's true.
Another thing that was cool about this episode though is that it added an actual.
Sorry.
You're fine. Added an actual thing, like answer the question, I guess, that fans have always had about Boba Fett and the entire damn Fett family, and this added a lot to that. Is are they Mandalorians? They wear the armor, but are they actually Mandalorian? And Boba Fett answered that here. And I love the way Tamara Morrison. It was cool to see him back, by the way, but the way he spoke, it added so much to it for me. Hey, let me show you something. This is my father, Jango Fett. This is me, Boba Fett. It was awesome. It was like, I like his voice.
That's my whole family tree.
I love the way he said Tatooine too. It was like Tatooine. It was just everything he did. It was cool, man. I really am starting to love this character. Adam, anyway, I feel like you got interrupted on your points there, but go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, there's this weird fascination with Boba Fett. I've never felt like it was warranted based on the information we were given. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that being said, that didn't mean that it weren't possible for Boba Fett to be your favorite character if we knew more about him or if he played a bigger role, but he didn't at the time.
Of course.
Well, now we're gonna get that. So now you can start being a huge Boba Fett fan.
Oh, we're getting it. We're getting it tenfold. We're getting it tenfold.
Yeah, we are. And now there's gonna be a bunch of guys named Kyle drinking Monster with bounty hunter logos on the back of their trucks.
And Superman stickers still.
And you know what? They already exist. That's the sad thing. But they're going to exist tenfold now.
Their license plate is a custom license plate.
We're going to have to deal with that together.
Oh, love them Kyles. Gotta love them
They're
Kyles.
going to pay $200 to rechange their custom license plate from saying Spurmine to Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Or Boba.
Spermine?
Superman, because it can't fit the whole fucking name.
Oh, okay. I thought it was some play off of sperm. Anyway,
I mean, we can get into that.
so I'm happy to see Boba Fett. I'm happy to expand more on him and
Yeah.
get to see him and his badassery. So I'm very excited about it. And yeah, this episode was just really cool. I mean, you see the Dark Troopers, they're like unreasonably strong.
Yeah.
And so it's cool to watch battles with them. And then we get Grogu taken, which is extremely sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're like screaming as the ship is flying away. You're just like screaming.
Oh.
You're just like, just get him!
Stop it!
Right.
Stop it!
Oh, speaking of ships, I mean, you gotta think about the Razor Crest blows up here too. So every parent that bought one of those for their kid for Christmas is pissed off now. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Now they're gonna have to blow up their kids' toys to be accurate.
No, they're pissed off because they bought this toy just to get destroyed within the first day of them having it.
Yeah, no kidding though. But like, I was thinking about like, I mean, the second that happened, I mean, I audibly went because I couldn't believe they blew up that thing. That's been iconic throughout the entire series. I mean, it's a cool ship, and I was upset about that. But whatever happens, I mean, you got to have stakes, right? And then this episode also. It teased that Mayfeld, played by Bill Burr, will be coming back in the episode after, which was kind of an interesting thing. You're going to need him to help break into the Imperial base and to find the coordinates on Gideon. And then, not that we're jumping into that episode yet, but
it's now Moff Kidney.
No, it's Giggity.
Then we have
no giggity.
Another one of those great Imperial transitions that I love, and then Gideon, Giggity, revealing the Darksaber to the child, to Grogu, and also locking the child up in shackles. So that kind of stuff was all really good too. That happened in the episode. Ian, what did you think of Boba Fett in this episode? How'd you like this episode?
I kind of agree with Adam. Nobody really had a real reason to really love Boba Fett. Now, I mean, I feel like I have
Boba Fett. I have to say it every time. And my fa, Jango Fett.
These are all my brothers, the clones. There's trillions of them. Anyway,
these are my brothers. Me.
They're all me. They're just mostly dead. But anyway, so I mean, I thought it was cool being able to see Boba Fett, his reveal, him actually talking. Yeah. Which I mean, again, what I was saying, I feel like Adam has a point for sure. I do kind of have a statement to make against it, though. Something with fans is they like characters that are minuscule and mysterious. So it's like Boba Fett is a minuscule mystery character in
liking
a sense.
the character and that's the best character in all of Star Wars.
No.
Oh my God.
No, I agree with that.
Boba Fett. That's how they act.
Okay, Kyle, calm down. Your monster's in the corner.
Kyle.
Thank God. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Look, we know the whole reason. The whole reason that Dom has that Star Wars poster there is to cover up the holes. Anyway. So I mean, like, yes, no, it's unreasonable fan base, but that's just how fans are. They're unreasonable. They all are.
Yes,
they are all super.
Let's be honest. All of us,
especially Star Wars
to a degree. We're all unreasonable to a degree.
Look, a lot of people shit on the first trilogy, and I feel like they were unreasonably shit on it, and it was just because it changed. Anyway, that was sidetracked. I'm not going that deep into this. Fans are just unreasonable, and I mean, like, yes, they do have something that should make them a legitimate fan now, and I love that for them, and I love the fact that we're going to get it. I think Boba Fett is a Boba Fett, and his dad, and him, and his brothers, which are all him.
It's not his father. It's my fa, Jango Fett.
My fa.
Go ahead.
I love that. We get to see all this. I love the fact that we're going to get a future with him.
Yeah.
And we're going to get married and have a thousand.
I was hoping that you were going to go there.
No, listen, man.
After
I mean,
you said a
Divorce
future
too.
with him, I knew where you were gonna go.
listen, man. I mean,
Am I that readable?
even though the episode didn't cater to me necessarily, and like the second that he put on that armor again and started blowing the shit out of these troopers, I was
I hit the
excited
instant up
because
button.
I knew other people were excited. You know what I mean? Like their excitement kind of radiated off of them, and I just got excited for them. And I'm like, finally, people are going to be able to see this. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of loving it too. I mean, that's just kind of how I felt about it. It was just, and it was the grit of it, the way it was directed. I mean, let's not even start on a Boba Fett. I mean, just smashing in stormtroopers' heads and how brutal that was, because that was cool too. I mean, we'd never seen anything like that before, and it made sense for Robert Rodriguez to direct this episode. I actually hope he does the entire Boba Fett series. I mean, because he really just had the style to this episode I would like to see in that series that he could really bring to it. So I hope they actually have him do that. I don't know how long the Boba Fett series is going to be. I hear it's a limited run and a one-off, so we'll see. But you know, I wanted to talk about one of my gripes too. I'm really not on board with the Fennec being a half human, half droid. You know, that was kind of a weird thing to me. How he just had parts, like droid parts, to put her back together. What I did like about that though is that my least favorite episode in the whole series, the one that I would call legitimately bad, it added a little bit more to the tease that we got in the end of the person with the spurs walking up to Fennec. I just always assumed that was Gideon or something, but no, we found out it was Boba Fett later on, and that was pretty cool to see. Yeah,
Boba Fett is a cowboy confirmed.
Yeah, we got to talk about too. I mean, little Grogu up in the up in the
Giddy
ship.
up.
Up in the ship, just throwing around stormtroopers with the Force. I mean, that was quite something. Adam, do you have anything to add to that? You okay?
Apparently he does.
I don't know why that broke me.
All right.
It all came full circle. No, I don't have anything more to add. It was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I am excited for the Boba Fett series.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, what's awesome is it comes out in December, which is the same time Mando Season 3 comes out. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean...
Merry Christmas to us.
Merry Christmas to us, indeed.
Christmas is coming.
Yeah, but here's what else I'll say. This kind of adds to our little Snoke conversation that we had earlier. They mentioned about the... what does he say? Oh, we finally have our donor, is what he says at the very end of this, and I thought that was cool. You okay over there, Ian? It really did break you, didn't it?
I don't know why it was so funny.
What did you even say? Was it like giddy up on the horsey or something like that?
I said giddy up because you were talking about the Spurs and then was it he said something about and that now confirmed that Boba Fett is a cowboy and I just went giddy up.
Oh man. All right.
I don't know why it's so funny to me.
All right. Wonderful. So God, Jesus. Oh,
You know,
man.
I should
We
get
have fun here.
I
We have
should
fun
get-
here.
I should replace one of these Marvin Gaye posters behind me with a poster of Kramer saying "Giddy up." I think that's what should happen actually.
That would
And
be
the other
funny.
one is going to be that. The other one is going to be that really serious picture of John Candy in a suit, and it's like a camera angle above here, and he's got his glasses in his hand, and he's like, "That's going to be the other picture."
Part of me was actually thinking about printing out that Darth that really made me laugh. The Darth Y'all picture and just posting it. Like I thought that would have been really, really funny. Like, and I thought about doing that to make you guys laugh beforehand, but I forgot to do it. Darth Y'all.
I just unmuted my mic, you asshole.
You know what I want to get for like a soundbite to use on the show, Ian, is that one where your head was coming off and then you were trying to get the background off and all you hear is Ian because he's like away from his mic, so he sounds so distant and all you hear is, I can't get it off. It was just the funniest thing in the world.
I don't remember this, but please use it.
I want to clip that out and use it as like a soundbite for the show.
Do it.
Anytime
Do it.
anybody gets slightly angry here, I'm going to play that. Oh, man.
We need to use it for our little idea for my show.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't talk about that out loud.
Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry.
We haven't announced anything yet.
Giving away secret information.
Go through and just bleep it out, and then leave this unbleeped.
No, because that requires editing. You know how long your fucking episode took to export last week?
Yeah, but that would be great because then the people would be really mad because we're continuing to talk about it, but they would have no idea what we're talking about.
No! Please, God, do it because then they're gonna be. Adam's point is legitimate.
I'm not editing this 2 hour. I'm not exporting a 2 hour video. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Okay, let's move on. Let's go into chapter 15, The Believer. This one directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Loved Rick Famuyiwa's episodes last season. He did the one, obviously, where Mando was helping out those Jawas with the egg, and he also did the heist episode last season with Bill Burr as Mayfeld. That was a really fun one, and I was excited to see Bill Burr again. Bill Burr's acting chops are really, really good. He did great work in King of Staten Island. He does great work again here, continues to. I thought he was really impressive last season. A lot of people said that his character took him out of it. Didn't me. I really think he does a good job. And I'm actually impressed. I think it's kind of, it makes him one of the most brilliant stand-up comedians still, because, you know, it's a joke within himself, him being in Star Wars, because he makes fun of Star Wars all the time. So I love that about him just showing up here, and then he comes in and does an incredible job in them. I'm
not gonna lie to you. I have to say something here.
Yeah.
This episode made him my favorite character in the show.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah.
You're gonna put a poster of him on your truck?
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting. I really love his character, and this added more to him. It's not my favorite, but I love his character. I love what he did. This episode is certainly the weakest in the season for me, but still, that's like, it's not a bad episode by any means. I love them all for one reason or the other, I feel like, and it's a great episode within itself, and it's a lot of fun. I remember when I first watched it, I was like, it's fine, and then like I watched it a second time, I was like, oh man, what was I thinking? That was pretty cool, especially the more I thought about it and everything. And yeah, but basically the mission here is to break into the Imperial base. Bill Burr's gonna help him get in there. It's a they end up getting in there and getting the coordinates. It's a pretty simple concept, which might have been why I felt it was lackluster. But let's not forget that Mando has to take his helmet off in order to do this. And what an amazing job Pedro Pascal did with the helmet off, looking traumatized and embarrassed. He didn't even have a lot of lines, but you could just tell from the facial expressions. This is what I mean. You got to have Pedro Pascal in the show. He's so good. He just did a good job with playing that off, and I felt so bad for him, you know what I mean, having to have his helmet off in front of people for the first time, and you wanted to go over there and give him a hug and be like, it's all right, you know, because it was quite something. But yeah, the work Bill Burr did when they shot up that place was incredible. When they're talking about when they're having that conversation, great work. The action was a lot of fun here. I have to mention this. I've been saying it from the beginning. You're gonna have Boba Fett in the Slave One bring out a seismic charge, and boy did they ever. They brought a seismic charge out to blow up the TIE fighters. One of my favorite sounds in all of Star Wars. I was excited about that's for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. I mean, they, you know, it really tees up for what the finale is going to be. It's going to be the mission to actually go get the child. Had a good time with it. Adam, what were your overall thoughts and biggest takeaways from this one?
I really liked this episode. I didn't feel like it was weak at all. I really like Mayfield. Bill Burr, like you said, Bill Burr killed it. Like,
yeah.
He's killing it in this episode as this character. I really enjoy everything about him.
Oh yeah.
And when they're in there and he's having that intense conversation, is the guy's name Hess? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Mm-hmm.
When he's having a conversation with Hess, like that is like that conversation is so
uncomfortable.
It's weird. It is because it's like confrontational but non-confrontational at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like he's definitely like showing that he is angry at him and he's got beef with him, but at the same time, it's the way that Hess is reacting is he's reacting as if he's just like having a casual conversation about it, and he's kind of bragging, and So I really, really like that exchange between those two characters. One of probably my favorite part of the episode was just that exchange right there.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Din Djarin's got to take his helmet off, and like, can you imagine if you've literally had your helmet on your entire life, you've never exposed your face to another creature before,
Yeah.
and you have to take it off for the first time, and like, we think, oh, that wouldn't be a big deal, but can you seriously imagine never showing your face to people, and now all of a sudden you've got to show yourself to all. I mean, that's like getting naked in front of a room full of people, like when you've literally never been naked in front of anybody but yourself before. Like, it would be traumatizing to you. And so, like, for him showing his face, he's gone his whole life not doing that.
Yeah.
So that would probably be pretty rough for him to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that moment. And all in all, I really appreciated this episode. I thought it was really good. So I love seeing Bill Burr.
Yeah, me too.
He's great.
He's so good in this. And I mean, like I said, it was just because of the way he played it, man. I wanted to go over there and give him a hug and tell him it's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? When he had the helmet off, like you're gonna be fine. Like, it was just, you felt so horrible for him, and yeah, but it was something. Like, we got to talk about Richard Brake, who played Hess. How good he was as an Imperial officer. He came off really intimidating. And to bounce off the conversation between him and Mayfeld, I mean, they did such a great job together. I mean, playing that scene, Pedro Pascal as well, just kind of having to be subtle and in the background. But I thought that one of the strongest things about the entire conversation is, like you said, it was uncomfortable. It felt like it was inspired by the beginning of Inglourious Bastards, where the Nazi and the Jew have to have that really intense conversation, right? I mean, that's it.
Now
really
that you
felt
say
that,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I loved it for that, and I was like, this is
That's
cool.
a good scene too, by the way.
Wait, what about me?
Sorry, Ian. But like, obviously, and Ludwig's score again just added so much to that moment. You know, he's kind of got the, that Hans Zimmer type thing that, goes on, and just in the background of that conversation, you're like, oh, it's going down. It's going down. When Bill Burr shoots him, I love how abrupt it is too, and I thought that was so cool. And yeah, it was amazing. Ian, you said that Mayfeld was now your favorite character in the whole show. That was just pretty interesting. But
as of now,
I understand.
This is the case.
I understand.
And it has to do with his one line after Pedro Pascal's magnificent
that was
performance
amazing.
of having a
Great.
constipated face.
That was great. You did what you had to do. The way he played that was awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, you did what you had to do. I never saw your face. Put your helmet back on.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Also, in comment to what you said about, like, wanting to go up and hug Pedro Pascal, be like, it's okay, buddy. I wanted to be like, it's okay, but like, and add to the comment, be like, it's okay, buddy. Everybody saw your face. It's all going to go downhill from here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's okay. You're not that ugly.
Yeah.
You're actually quite gorgeous, but everybody still saw your face.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about too the pirates. I mean, that was an interesting thing to do. It was a fun little sequence. It wasn't too bad.
The only time a stormtroopers actually made their shot.
Yeah, I guess I just felt like, and I guess it was directed very differently. And I love the intensity and the drama and everything going on within it. But the thing that I think we're kind of what made it weaker for me is it happened to fall after the two best episodes in the series that were really hard to live up to. So I think that made it fall a little short for me, but I did enjoy it overall. I just think the placement of, maybe, I don't know, it's not that Rick Famuyiwa did a bad job directing, but maybe if you'd had just somebody different, maybe, I don't know, it would have just felt a little bit better, but it was okay. I mean, I really enjoyed the episode, like, a lot, so it's all good. I just felt it fell short the first time I saw it, but I think that's really all we had to cover in that episode. So
yeah, there wasn't really much.
Yeah, it was Yeah.
It was more action. It was more about the action of the characters than the dialogue.
My favorite joke I think maybe in the entire series, or not a joke, but something that was played for laughs, which I guess is a joke. But my favorite, it was a Boba Fett line, and this has also helped me win me over on him. Is when they were trying to decide who was going to go in there with Mayfeld, and Boba Fett. Oh, let's just say that they'll recognize my face. Like, I thought that was really, really great. Because obviously they're clones, and they were cloned after him, or his father, or his donor, or whatever you want to call him. Let's dive into the finale, and I think that this is the one that we're probably going to break down the most, because there's a lot happening here, obviously. Chapter 16, The Rescue, directed by, once again, Peyton Reed. Yeah, so the beginning of the episode, I gotta say, I was a little worried for myself. This is how I felt about it when Fett came in with the slave one and was shooting the ship. I was like, it just, for some reason, right there at the beginning, it just felt a little less episodic. The fact that we were just kind of going in on the middle. Once the episode just kind of expanded a little bit, and we got to the end of it, I was like, oh, I see. They had a lot to cram in here, so that's I get why it just kind of started in the middle of a lot of action. Like, it's okay. Like, I was cool with it afterward, but so they're kidnapping Dr. Pershing. I thought personally, Ian, I know you and I already kind of had this conversation as you helped me with the breakdown over on Dom Solo. Go check that out, guys.
I'm gonna make minuscule comments on this episode.
Oh, you're
so
good.
Go on.
Yeah. Well, you can talk as much as you want on it, but the thing for me was like, yeah, it just, I don't know. There was something about the beginning. It just felt not rough, but just worrisome, because I just wasn't sure where we were going. But anyway, Adam, what did you think of those moments just in the beginning there with Fett on the slave one and them kidnapping Dr. Pershing?
I gotta be honest. I don't remember the very beginning.
Interesting. Okay, moving on. Ian, did you
I really don't. I'm blanking on exactly what. Obviously I remember the rest of the episode, but I'm having trouble remembering how the episode starts out.
Interesting. Okay, Ian.
We're talking about when they went to go kidnap him,
right at the very beginning.
So,
which hold on, I told you on the Dom Solo episode too. I thought that they were going to use Pershing for exposition as to what they were doing as the child, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. They didn't go that route with it, but okay.
Okay. I remember now. Okay.
Well, no, it's my turn now.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was gonna say, it seemed so convenient, I guess. Like, he just started giving stuff away. I feel like any other movie you capture somebody, especially somebody that is like holding valuable information for very important people, usually it's like, no, you can taste these nuts before I give anything away. But he was like, no, here's a map, it's right there, walk in here, you'll be fine. Like, that was something that, like, when Megan and I were watching, she even looked at me and was like, it's just so easy.
Yeah, it just, okay, that's a kind of, to put it in words, I guess the beginning for me just kind of started it set it off on an odd tone. You know what I mean? It set an odd tone for it at the very beginning. So.
Hey, he said he cares for that child.
That's true. I like that. No, I did like that. I'll give you that. Like,
so they made it make sense.
Yeah. What do you want to say about that, though, Ian?
I forgot. I'm kidding. So one thing that I thought was pretty cool was during the scene, one of the people's like, "You're from Alderaan, right?"
Oh yeah, that was cool.
There. I was there.
That was good. That was good stuff.
I watched all of them burn to a crisp, and she just fucking shoots him.
When she got pissed off. That was good.
Yeah, I like how he's like, "Oh, you do anything?" And he's like blinking, closing his eyes when he's talking. Like, he's just like giving her all the chance in the world. He's like, "Please shoot me right here." Oh, fuck it. Just, please shoot me right here. I saw it all happen. Boom.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Definitely, absolutely. And I was surprised too. Right after this, I mean, I wasn't expecting to see this character pop back up in the season. I got to be honest. I thought she was going to be used for the one purpose, but they actually do go back and get Bo-Katan, which actually kind of made sense to me. It's like, well, if they're going after Gideon, they're probably going to want her help, and they can actually convince her to do that.
What didn't make sense though?
A Darksaber. We're gonna get into that later, Ian. But I know what you're thinking right now, but we'll talk about that later. But the part where, yeah, I mean, she kind of didn't want to come. She was a little hesitant at first, and I get it. They were like, okay, if it's Gideon, you're done. I mean, there's no way you're gonna get him. But then they told her about the coordinates. They get into this fight about. I mean, she clearly has beef with Boba Fett. The Mandalorian apparently don't think very highly of the Fetts. I thought the comment was kind of cool to be written in there about, your father or your donor. I was like, oh, that's harsh. That is harsh. Yeah, that's going to piss them off. And they did.
My favorite comment was, I've heard your voice 1,000 times before. You're no different.
Oh, yeah. That was cool, too. I enjoyed that. That's a very good point. Adam, what'd you think of all that? That little scrap they got into in the... I know you don't like
I mean,
Bo-Katan,
if I was Boba Fett, I would have popped her.
Yeah.
like Mark said in the chat, like just shoot her.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Worse than Rose.
That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm like, what is with these people? Why did they got beef? Like,
yeah.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
So like right off the bat, like just being douchebags.
In the defense of the narrative,
I thought the same thing, to be honest.
In the defense of the narrative, though, and it's one of the things that helped me love Boba Fett. I forgot to mention it in the basically the one that was his episode. I forgot to mention that one of the things that made me really start to really like Boba Fett was when he was telling Mando that, the deal's not over. We're in debt to you. We told you the child had to be okay. That was part of the deal, and that's something that I really started to respect about Boba Fett is he's a man of honor, and he wants to honor that. There you go. Very good pun. So he went. So he goes into when this all starts up, he's like, I'm not going to kill these women because I want to honor my word and help Mando, I think. And that was kind of part of it, in my opinion, and he knows that they needed their help regardless. So
I think this just showed a huge sign of weakness in Boba Fett. And I think Mark is wrong thinking that Boba Fett's such an amazing character. I think Boba Fett's trash.
Oh, man. He's probably going to watch this one, too.
I know. I'm kidding, Mark. I'm kidding.
We always fuck with him. It's all right. But yeah, I mean, it was all really good stuff. Well, let's talk about the action extravaganza that comes ahead. Yes.
I have to say something about that scene myself.
Go ahead.
It still does not make sense to me why she was so hesitant. Like, I feel like if it were me, I would have been like, oh, you know where Moff Gideon is? You know where my Darksaber is? Even though you're not supposed to know about my Darksaber yet, but I know about it. I want that shit. I want a piece of that cake.
Well,
that'd be me.
I'll bring this up again later. I think that there's a whole backstory between her and Gideon that we don't know about that adds to that. But she's
fearful.
We'll see. Well, maybe she's fearful, but I think that she's doubtful more than anything. She just doesn't think that he knows where she's at. Initially, you got to remember, when he walked in, he didn't say, I have the coordinates to Gideon. He said, we're going after Gideon, essentially. So I could see her saying, well, you're never going to find him, I understand why she was hesitant, so... let's talk about the action extravaganza. So we get into, I mentioned this to Ian, I love when they were coming up with a plan. It reminded me of a Rebel briefing room, especially just coming off of playing that Squadrons game just recently. It was just really cool to see that. It really was definitely inspired from that, I could tell. And they did a really good job having the hologram up. Okay, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do. Very reminiscent of other Star Wars movies as well. So I like that a lot. And I like that the plan was, we're going to pretend like we are being attacked by Boba Fett. I thought this stuff was awesome. Seeing the ties coming out of that tube, them having to fly back into the tube. I thought that stuff was really, really cool. Adam, what'd you think of all that?
Yeah, I thought it was all pretty badass.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, anytime I can see really anybody get blown away, I'm going to be pretty excited.
Oh, so. Yeah. Oh,
I'm into it all.
Ian?
Um,
Go ahead. You had more?
no, not really.
Okay. Ian? Yeah? All right. So
It was an awesome scene. I mean,
yeah.
there's not much to add to it. It was cool.
No, it's fair enough.
I liked the crash landing and the whole 9 yards.
Fair enough. I just want to make sure that this is the one we break down the most. But yeah, let's get into
I get you. I'm sorry. It's hard to break it down.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly an action.
It is. It's
like this whole season's
extravaganza.
mostly action.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about
The biggest thing to me is Goral power.
All right. So I will talk about. I will kind of break down everything up until the point. Yeah. Anyway, I will break
Adam's
down.
face.
Hashtag girl power.
No. Wrong. Goral.
Goral. He says Goral
Goral.
power. Yeah.
Goral power.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So let's get into. I'll break down everything up until the big final moment at the end here. So since it's all pretty much action, I mean, I laughed audibly. By the way, I mean, when Mando gets into this fight with this Dark Trooper, I laughed audibly. By the way, when he hit the hatch and all the Dark Troopers went out of the hatch, I was like, well, there that went. I really thought that was funny.
Did you go back and listen for the scream?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I heard it this time. It was great. I watched this episode a total of 8 times, by the way. This is how much.
Wow.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Not my favorite of the series.
Ah!
I watched the Ahsoka one probably a lot more than that. So yeah, but I really enjoyed this one. So moving into let's see. So we get into Gideon. So he goes to fight Gideon. And we knew that spear was going to come back into play. Well, first, actually, Gideon tells him, okay, I got the blood. You can grab the child. He, goes to grab the child. Gideon pretty much sucker punches Mando. Mando actually bests him in the fight with the spear. And, he captures him. Oh, you're keeping me alive. This should be interesting. Takes him to the bridge. Dark Troopers come back. Yeah.
I thought Gideon was supposed to be smart. This just crossed my mind. I thought Gideon was supposed to be smart. How did he not know that Beskar was lightsaber repellent?
I think he did. I think eventually it penetrates it. You just have to hit it enough times. I think eventually it would. I don't think it's stupidity. I just think he thought that if he got him enough times, he would eventually penetrate the Beskar. But the thing is, like, I don't know if he was aware that the staff was Beskar, though, on his back. I actually don't think he was aware of that. But who knows?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, and there are all these openings in the armor. He could have chopped an arm off.
Oh, of course. And the other part,
but it didn't even seem like he tried. He's just like, let's
he
get the
didn't.
armor.
He's swinging for the spots that are the most heavily armored.
See, he's stupid.
No, but even when you're watching him hitting the Beskar, you see the Beskar spear, you see red. It starts to become red. I'd imagine if you kept it on there long enough, it would eventually melt. That'd be my guess. And plus, he has the fucking Darksaber. I mean, it's the most powerful lightsaber, arguably, in the galaxy. So, arguably, but he. Moving into what was I going to say here? So it takes him back to the bridge. I like that they were like, okay, we got to keep him alive. It'll double the price. But this is one of my gripes, but that something that could possibly be fixed later. Ian, you know exactly what I'm about to say, is when he's talking about, well, she needs to, and this probably didn't bother you, Adam, so lucky you, but that
it bothered us.
She needs to beat Mando in a fight, in order to take the Darksaber. This is why it bothers us. When Bo-Katan had the Darksaber last time...
I even talked about this yesterday with my fucking brother-in-law.
Yeah. I mean, when Bo-Katan... I'll tell you this, Adam, without spoiling Rebels for you, but you'll see it. When Bo-Katan last had the Darksaber, she took it from somebody who won it in battle, essentially, right? I mean...
Yeah, no. That character won it in battle.
Right, so...
And then they handed it right over to her.
To me, it's...
To Bo-Katan.
Yeah, and she took it no problem. So, this could be explained later on. I think that this also is probably going to play into however Gideon got the saber from her in the first place. That's the only way they can explain it away. Yeah.
I think I finally pieced it. I think it's a pride thing. Because, being gifted it from somebody, like the character we're talking about, it's okay, this is fine. She Bo-Katan's accepted her fate, whereas she most likely lost it to Moff Gideon. So now her pride is broken because she feels like she's not worthy.
Yeah.
So now Din Djarin's just handing it over to her. This just came to mind just now. Din Djarin's trying to hand it over to her right in front of the person she lost it to, and she's like, "Nah, fuck that. I ain't no pussy."
I thought just my reaction when I first saw the episode, I thought that it was more of a pride thing based on the dialogue, like what
I didn't piece it together because of
what's
what
her
I seen.
face said to her made it sound like, okay, it's not like there's this weird spell on this lightsaber. It's just that it's sort of her pride that she doesn't want to take it. That's how I took it.
Maybe. Go ahead. Well, I just think that, I mean, they're going to have to address it in season 3. A lot of people have come to question this, like, a lot. Like, I questioned it immediately. Ian questioned it immediately.
The second it fucking happened, I was like, what do you mean?
A lot of other fans are questioning it. So I think it's something that's at least going to have to be addressed to some degree. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
Not only that, but, like, I was going to say, like, how do you, like, what constitutes winning in a battle? Because, like,
killing him or besting him,
like,
right?
Like Din Djarin, he didn't kill Gideon,
right? Exactly,
but he won.
So, exactly. So it's like, okay, so if it isn't a pride thing, it's like, okay, if you have to beat me in a battle, then here, take a swing at me. I'll drop the saber and go, ow, and you win. Like,
right.
I mean,
think of Pokemon. Every time you battle a Pokemon, you just knock it out.
Yeah.
That's winning the battle.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think she has to kill him necessarily, but it's still like...
Or else she would be dead.
It's still a plot hole to me, though. It just still is a plot hole
well,
to me.
Din Djarin wouldn't have it if... Like,
no, you don't have to kill him.
He didn't. No. Right, he didn't kill Gideon, and now it's his lightsaber. So it's like, yeah, it didn't make sense to me either, because I'm like, okay, what's the deal? Like, you got to beat him in a battle. It's like, it's not like you have to kill him. Like,
right.
First of all,
if
he hands it, right? Technically, if he says I yield, well, you won the battle.
It's really interesting how they're playing that, but I think it's going to be addressed, and there's got to be a reason for it, I would think. But
this is my gripe with this episode.
Yeah,
my biggest gripe.
Yeah, I think mine too. But it could be fixed. So I'm third season pending, But yeah, I would agree with you. Here's
year.
I mean, Adam, what'd you think of all the action up until that point, though? Moving into that, I mean. Before the X-Wing.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked the battle between Din Djarin and the Dark Troopers, or the Dark Trooper rather. I thought that was really cool. That was a moment where I was like, how is he gonna win? Because it's looking like these guys are unreasonably overpowered.
Yeah, I mean
he made it happen.
They're smashing his head into the wall and everything. It's wild.
I know. I was like, at what point? Like, is there going to be a point where the armor gives way? Because he's really punching him into this wall right now.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when he hits the button and they all go flying out of the ship.
Yeet.
First thing I said was, well, they're going to be back. They can fly. Like,
Same though.
Okay. Like, you're buying yourself, 5 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah. Really, though. It's true. I mean, but I did laugh audibly when it happened, for sure. But Ian, all the action, I mean, you told me this before, but just for the purposes of this episode, I mean, what'd you think of all the action prior to the X-Wing?
I'm going to summarize it this time, and I'm going to say Goral power was dope.
It was.
And I enjoyed the maneuver. Like I said the last time, I enjoyed the maneuver.
Oh, yeah.
The maneuver?
Yes, I enjoyed the maneuver that the two Mando girls were playing in. And falling off the bridge to fall in more manure, and then flying behind the stormtroopers to hit them with some manure. But Goral power, when Cara Dune was like, "I can't hit you with the Thule, so I'm gonna hit you with the Thule."
Yeah, hell yeah, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that too. I love that Cara Dune character.
The Thule is now a staff Thule.
I know Adam is, But I love that Cara Dune character. I really do. I think she's great.
No, like, it's not like I hate her. It's just that there a lot of the times when she is there, I feel like the delivery feels cheesy.
Fair enough. You're not the first person to say it, but
I just want to point out,
Yeah.
for personal reasons, I keep making jokes about how I'm so attracted to Cara Dune. Cara Dune, yes. Probably not Gina. I don't know. That's a personal thing. Probably not.
Well, she's not 100% ugly, but I mean,
no, she's. I feel like she's very attractive. I'm talking about personality.
He's not 100%.
There's some things. No. I find her very attractive physically. Personality, probably not. But we won't get into that in this episode. We won't get on that actually in any of the episodes, to be honest.
Fair enough. All right, so, all right, so here's the moment, guys. Let's talk about this. We have these things breaking.
You shut the fuck up.
Giggity. All right, so we have Mr. Giggity talking about all right, all of you are going to die except for me and the child. They're breaking into the door. We see an X-wing fly in, and they're like, "Oh shit, who is this?" I'll tell you what. When that X-wing,
I just saw a meme for this.
When that X-wing flew in, I sensed something I haven't sensed since.
No.
I'm kidding. Did you not get that? All right, but the
I wish I got it. I feel stupid now.
I think Adam got it, but maybe not.
Explain it to me after this. Let the stupidity roll for me.
That was my version of smell the fart acting, but the anyway, so the X-wing flew in, and yeah, I mean, it really, I was thinking, I was like, okay, put it this way, 65% sure it was Luke at this point. Then this score, they all stop, right? And then it's like, you hear Bo-Katan go, a Jedi, and you see him on the screen, and I'm like, okay, who's this gonna be? I was 65% sure it was Luke with the X-wing. Then I see him fucking people up with the green lightsaber, and I'm probably about 75% sure it's Luke at this point, because then I'm like, okay, could be Luke or Ezra. It's a green lightsaber. Then they show the hilt, and then I knew 100% it had to be Luke. Not 100%, like 99. It could have been somebody who took Luke's lightsaber.
No, it's 100% that moment.
Pretty much. And then, I mean, dude, okay, let's talk about this. I will say this. I'll give my thoughts on this scene. Holy shit. Yeah, it was amazing to see Luke Skywalker get that Darth Vader moment from Rogue One almost, and him messing up. Except these were droids, but it's Luke. But it was so cool to watch them mess these people up. That score that Ludwig Goranson came up with is one of my favorite pieces of music in all Star Wars right now. It was so good. It made my heart beat so fast, man, and yeah, I didn't like bawl like a baby right here like a lot of people did. I think I have a reason for that, and I'll explain that at the end, but I did love the hell out of it, and it was amazing. And then when he crushed that final one, before we get into, well, let's talk about this. We'll stop here and make this the cutoff point for the breakdown of the scene. He jumps in. He comes to the door. Mando, open the door. He takes his hood off, and then that Force music swells, and I'm like, a tear came to my eye, and you see it's Luke Skywalker. I know a lot of people are saying that this deep fake looked bad. I actually didn't think it looked all that bad. I thought it looked pretty good. Hold on, Ian. I thought it looked pretty good. I think it looked actually better than Tarkin in Rogue One, if I'm being honest at this point. The fact that they got Mark Hamill back into Luke to voice him was great. Adam, what do you got?
Okay, first of all,
hot take.
I would like to say that before this episode started, dead like 100% serious, I looked at Megan and I said, I feel like we're gonna see Luke. I feel, because all I had seen was people were like, this is a really good episode, like, and people were crying, and I was like, I bet we see Luke. I just have a feeling. And so we went into it, and then when the X-wing flew in, I looked at her and I was like, it's gonna be Luke. And then when we saw that the lightsaber was green, I was like, it's freaking Luke.
Yeah.
So when the doors open, I was like, it's Luke. Like, so yeah, obviously the scene, I mean, it was badass. I mean, getting to see him freaking destroy all those dark troopers, especially knowing how powerful they are, like they're way OP.
Yeah.
And he just like completely obliterated them. That was really cool. He got his little Darth Vader moment. I will say the deep fake I it felt weird. It felt really weird to me.
Interesting.
It really did. Like, I know some people think it looked better than Tarkin. I told you last time when I rewatched that I thought Tarkin looked weirder than I remembered him looking. So I didn't necessarily think Tarkin looked that convincing. He did at the time because it was new to me, so it was impressive. But as it aged, I was like, no, it doesn't look that great. So seeing Luke, I didn't feel like it necessarily looked better, but it felt weird to me. It felt weird enough to me where it affected my excitement, and I wish that the timelines weren't so far apart, because I wish that it could have been Mark Hamill himself in the flesh. It would have had so much more impact to me. It would have been so much more special. But even going back and looking at pictures, like screen captures of the episode, it's the face is like really weird. It's almost like looking at Play-Doh or something.
Yeah.
It's like, it's bizarre. It looks bizarre to me. I know a lot of people aren't going to have an issue with it because they're just excited to see him, and I'm happy for you. That's good. For me, for some reason, it looked weird to me, and it kind of took me out of the moment.
Adam, did you notice that at points the face clipped a bit, so when he turned, the face stretched?
Yeah, I noticed.
I
some
wasn't the
weird
only one.
stuff.
Okay.
And there were moments with the mouth where I felt like the mouth wasn't opening quite as wide as a normal mouth would open. There were several things
I will say,
where I was just like,
Speaking a whole sentence.
the face muscles were
like-
still, you know what I mean, when he was talking and stuff. Yeah. But I didn't think it looked horrible for me. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry that it took you guys out. It didn't take me out. It honestly made me more excited.
This was a minor gripe for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge gripe. It was a minor gripe. It was like, I hate deep fakes, but I'll suffer through this one because of it being Luke and because of it being Star Wars.
And I mean, they've gone back and fixed some of their effects in season 1. Maybe they'll go back and fix the face too. I mean, it's possible.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, they can do it. I did want to make a statement here about this too, just to make sure that I say this while we're on the subject. I love this scene. I did. I thought it was incredible. I'm one of the ones, in fact, like I said, that the deep fake didn't take me out of it. It actually.
I wish it
added
hadn't
to
taken
my
me out of it.
Yeah, I know, and it added to my excitement. I saw a lot of reactions to this, of people crying because they saw Luke Skywalker, and I thought that was so cool. There were a lot of grown men crying, and I get it. Listen, I have said before in the past, I've defended the Last Jedi Luke Skywalker for a very long time, and I still do. I've said for a long time that I think that if you're going to have a young, spry Luke Skywalker, he should, doing all this kind of shit, he should be a young, spry Luke Skywalker. And that's what this episode proved to me. It just verified my point, and I want to see at some point, and maybe once the technology is actually there, maybe we can kind of see that this Luke kind of transition into that Luke, but we got ways to go, obviously, with the technology. I like this deep fake, but it wasn't perfect by any means. But what I wanted to really say here is, I do stand my point on how I felt about Last Jedi Luke. I think they went the right direction with that. But I heard a lot of things after this scene, after this finale. I heard a lot of different sides from people who this affected very much and were that excited to where it made them cry, which is wonderful. You should be that excited about Star Wars. And I think a lot of the reason I didn't is because I felt like I got that Luke in The Last Jedi. You know, I got a Luke that excited me a lot in The Last Jedi, that affected me, that kept me up all night thinking about that movie. I mean, I had that already. And I've gotten a little upset at people. Well, if you don't like a movie, you don't like a movie. But I've gotten upset at people not being open minded toward the take of Luke. And I still think that you should always listen to other people's opinions and everything. And that's what I tried to do after this scene was shown. I listened to a lot of different fans and their takes on this. And a lot of what I heard is, and I haven't really heard this opinion before, at least absorbed it, is a lot of kids that grew up liking Star Wars got bullied for that. And having a positive Luke Skywalker type influence was like a beacon of hope for them growing up. And so, for me, hearing it that way and thinking about and seeing how this actually affected a lot of people, and thinking about The Last Jedi Luke, while I think it was the right way to go for that movie, I'm starting to understand the other side of it. And I want to say that I'm sorry that you'd been bullied growing up. I am sorry that you didn't get that Luke in Last Jedi. And but I can assure you that the filmmakers were not out to offend anybody in that movie. This is course correction for you guys. I don't think anything will be retconned. I know there's been a lot of demand for that. I do not think the sequels will be retconned. I think that what they're trying to do is enhance those movies for you guys. But it makes me very sad to hear about a lot of kids being bullied growing up and that this version of Luke being their beacon of hope. And even though I've gone a long time defending the Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi, I think it was more consistent with the Luke we had before. And I still stand by that. I still don't have a problem with this, and I thought it was so cool to see him come out and be a badass like this, and I'm so excited for all the fans. Anyway, I wanted to make that statement, and it was important to me to say that because
I've got something to add.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you still on the sequels and Luke. I understand what they were trying to do with the sequels with Luke. If I could have done it differently, I probably would have made Luke go out with a little bit bigger of a bang, maybe to make it a little more special to those people that you're talking to.
Right.
If it were up to me, but it wasn't up to me. It's not my story to tell, and I came to terms with how they delivered the story in the sequels, and I think it was I think it made sense for his character and how we knew Luke and how he used to be. And,
right.
I think it made sense for his character. And I thought, it is a shame that so many people felt like he went out like somebody that was weak it's a shame that people see it that way, because the way that you and I think both see it, how he went out in the sequels, was that he sacrificed himself for a greater cause, and I think that is more heroic than anything that he could have done.
Yeah.
I think it was very poetic. I think the sequel trilogy, I think people aren't understanding a lot of poetry that is in that trilogy. There is more poetry and hidden connections and hidden parallels and meanings in that than people are really fully grasping, because when people get upset, we tend to stop looking at things because we don't want to look at them anymore. So I think that's a shame. But also, like you said, it's a shame that people ever get bullied about the stuff that they like. Like, you like what you like. Like, it's no big deal. Like, if you like Star Wars, you like Star Wars. I think it's a shame that people mistreat other people just because they're into that. And I'm happy that people get to have that moment too, where they get to see Luke in full form and full power. I think that's really special. I think that's something we've all really craved. So I'm definitely happy to see it. I wish the technology were a little better so it didn't take me out of the moment. But I have a hot take here for a second. I've got
I actually have something to add after this.
Oh, let me say this too real quick. I was just to bounce off that real quick. I'm just saying, for the first time after hearing all those stories, I've always listened and tried to listen to other people's opinions, but for the first time I finally understand it. You know what I mean? It doesn't change my opinion of those movies, but I finally for the first time understand it. But go ahead, Adam.
Right.
Your hot take. Or Ian, did you have something to bounce off of what he was saying? Because go ahead and do that before he gets to his hot take, and we get to the fun parts of it. But.
Okay, so as someone who's been bullied his whole life, for things I like, just the way I look, the whole 9 yards. I mean, like, one thing that I've learned in like having rebuttals to these bullies, like ways to deflect these things, is always pulling one over on them in a smart way. And I feel like the way that Luke had sacrificed himself was also pulling one over on Kylo. Honestly, yeah. I thought that was like one of the strongest. Like, I'm gonna pull one over on you, make him fucking lose his shit, and then realize he did it for nothing. Like, that was amazing to me. So, I mean, being someone who's bullied, I thought it was like, I myself, kind of looking at it at this perspective now, I feel like that in itself is a huge thing, power move in a sense, because he made him essentially blow all his load out without without any actual reason to. Yeah. So let's be honest, like, that's the ultimate move, like defensive move against a bully.
Right. I mean,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, they I think it was trying to be positive, and it came across as a different way. And again, for the first time, I understand it. But Adam, what was your hot take? Now that you
okay,
bunch of wussies. I'm kidding.
My hot take here is, I would have rather this moment not happened.
Interesting. That's very hot.
It's very, 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 very hot. Now, as I said, Luke means a lot to me as a character, and I have always wanted nothing more than to see him in his full glory, just slaying it. I've always wanted that, just like I always wanted that for Darth Vader, and I still want that with Darth Maul, and there are still characters that I would like that. So of course I want to see that from him. And I'm okay with it. It was a little weird to see because of the deep fake, but I'm okay with it. Like I said, I wish the timeline were different, so it could have been Mark Hamill. I think it would have made it more special. I think it would have felt a lot more natural. I would have loved it a lot more.
It would have taken us out of the immersion.
But still, the reason why I say I could live without it is because I think what The Mandalorian has is really special in that, like we talked about, it has kind of been divorced from the Skywalker saga. And they make connections, they bring in some new characters that are, from the Clone Wars and stuff like that. And that's really cool. But for the most part, it stays fairly divorced from the Skywalker saga. Of course, we know that they're probably going to tie stuff in, and I like that. I want it to tie in. I'd love to find out that, Palpatine is involved or Snoke is being cloned. I'd love to find that out. But what is special about The Mandalorian right now is it all feels so new. It all feels so standalone, like it's its own little Star Wars side quest. And
it's able to drive itself without the big characters.
Right. And none of us are bickering about it. For the first time in Star Wars history, 99% of us aren't bickering about it. We may have little disagreements, but the fan base is overwhelmingly for the Mandalorian series. We love it. It's good. It's done its own thing. It's paved its own way because we don't have anything to argue about, because they haven't had any hot takes or any changes to the saga. Like, it's done its own thing and revealed this new fresh story, and I think that's really special. And why I say I wish, I don't necessarily wish, but I could have done without the Luke moment, is that it ties back in a very blatant way. It ties back into the Skywalker saga, and it gives us like the world's biggest fan service. And there are times where I like fan service, but I'm not always a fan service type of guy. Like, I don't like getting fan service just for the sake of getting fan service. And I think there are a lot of Star Wars fans that would sacrifice story just so that they could see a familiar character. And I'm not willing to sacrifice story or sacrifice anything special just so that I could be reunited with a familiar character. So I think it kind of distracts, it kind of pulls away from the greatness of the Mandalorian. It's like now you inject it with Luke, which feels kind of cheap to me because we know that it's going to get a big applause. It's like now we've injected it with this, and it's kind of taken some of the glory away from the Mandalorian series standing alone on its own leg and just being special. And so I could live without it because I'm genuinely happy to have a series that is like its own thing, that we're not really arguing about, that is so strong, that is so fresh, that is so new. I've said it a million times before that I couldn't wait to see Star Wars that was in new places with new characters with nothing to do with what we know already. Like, so for that reason, I'm okay with it. It's cool. I'm glad to see Luke killing it. But I could have lived without it. It did feel a little weird. So anyway, that's my take.
Add to your hot.
Go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
The reason, so I have something to add to the hot take because honestly, I kind of side with Adam on this a little bit, but in a different way. I feel like, yes, it took away from the whole standalone feeling of the show, but personally, I would have felt more comfortable with a character that we haven't seen much of, the character that we need to build upon, such as Cal Kestis or Ezra, or even a new Jedi that like we didn't realize survived. Like,
that's what I would replace it with. That's what I would rather have. Build a new world. Build on another character. If you want to involve Luke, tie him in the story, but don't throw somebody else's face on it and inject him in, because I feel like it cheapens it.
I do have to agree with him for some of his reasons. I won't dig too big into it because I feel like it's just going to be a huge spiraling thing where we go back and forth. But I feel like a lot of points that he touched on, I do have to agree with. And I feel like I touched a little bit of base on that with the last episode, saying I would have preferred to see Ezra or Cal. But I'm accepting of the fact that we saw Luke. I don't think seeing Luke was a bad thing whatsoever. I don't think getting Luke was a bad thing whatsoever. I don't think that I never thought of it in the sense that, oh, this is just fan servicey, this is just injecting the like button. But I mean, I can see where he's coming from in that sense. Now, seeing a new character, or seeing like Ezra, even seeing Cal Kestis, seeing any of them, that would have been amazing to me. I'm still happy with getting Luke.
Okay, I couldn't disagree with you guys more. Listen, I mean,
that's fair.
I'm gonna say my point here. I mean, okay, so number one, I agree with you guys on the points. Obviously, I love that Mandalorian is its own thing. Like, I've said this a billion times. You know my stance on that, guys, right? Like, you understand that I love the idea of getting new things. And you know that probably at the beginning of the show, if you'd asked me if I wanted to see Luke Skywalker, I'd have been like, no, no, don't leave him out of it. 100%. Now I've seen how they did it, though. And let me tell you why I think it works extremely well. And it actually would not have made sense to have anybody else. Number one, Ian, as far as Ezra goes, I don't think it makes sense because he's safe for the Ahsoka series. We know that, obviously.
I know.
Number two,
I know that.
Cal Kestis, we don't know his fate. It doesn't make sense to show that he's alive. And
we also touch base on that one, too.
It takes so much away from Jedi Fallen Order 2, or Jedi whatever they're going to call it, the second game to Fallen Order, the sequel to that. The reason
it's FO2 for right now.
Listen, Luke is out there. He is looking for things related to the Force. This is in current canon. And Adam, I know you don't read a lot of this stuff, so I'm giving you a pass there. But listen, he's out there. He's looking for this kind of shit. If somebody reaches out through the Force and calls for a Jedi, who's going to find it? It's going to be Luke. Luke is going to answer that call. And I'll tell you why else it works so well for me. Is because he didn't come in there and say, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm here to rescue you. He came in there and he was
subtle about it.
He was just a Jedi. See, if you were just watching the show and it was the first and only Star Wars thing you saw, you didn't see Luke Skywalker. You saw, oh, the Jedi that answered the call. And that was the way they played it. If they had played it as, I'm Luke Skywalker, I'm not saying there's no fan service to it, but it's fan service that served the story. That's why I loved it. But go ahead, Ian.
Pause that thought for just 1 second, because I'm going to say one thing.
Go ahead.
If you live in the United States of America, you're for sure going to know who Luke Skywalker is, no matter what.
I know that, but I'm saying, like, take
everywhere.
it as a standalone piece and it still works was my point. But go ahead.
No, that was all I had to add to what you were saying.
I understand that realistically, but I'm saying, like, if you want to put it in a vacuum and make it its own standalone piece, he didn't come in there and say, I'm Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? It played as like he was just the Jedi answering the call. That's what I loved about it. I'm not saying there was no fan service to it. I'm saying if fan service is wonderful, if it serves the story and it made sense. And this made 100% sense. You can have problems with the deep fake. That's a different issue. But I'm saying if you want to know about the Jedi that comes to answer the call, I think it had to be Luke. And I would have said that differently a little bit ago until I saw how they played it, how well it worked out, and knowing that we're going to get 100,000 other series coming. You know what I'm saying? But it really just, it made the most sense canon-wise too, because when you think about who is out there right now looking for things that have connections to the Force, Luke Skywalker. So if he hears a call through the Force, Luke's going to answer it. I mean, it's just, nobody else is going to answer that call. I'm just saying. And Luke is probably the only one powerful enough at this point outside of Ahsoka Tano, who refuses to train the kid, who's going to hear that call. That's my thinking on it anyway. But,
possibly. I do want to point back out to the. I'm sorry, this is eating at me.
You're fine.
So, I'm not a big fan of Friends, but the memes that come from Friends can be funny. And I saw a very, very funny one today, and it was of that. I think Joey is the name of the character, where he's like, ha ha, and then like the next face is like,
oh yeah. Are you taking this as fart acting?
Huh?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
No. We're talking about the X-wing pulling up.
Oh right.
So like the first one where he's like, ha, cool, whatever, sees X-wing fly up, and then it's the next one, sees X-wing fly up, and he's like,
oh.
I think that was supposed to be a jab at the fans.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Can I show part of the picture?
Yeah, you could show a picture. You just can't play videos like you were trying to that one day. Oh yeah. I remember the moment from Friends now that you see it, but oh, there's that cat again. Anyway, I wasn't trying to shut your guys' points down. You guys make good points. I was just kind of trying to throw it out.
No,
I didn't feel like you were.
I don't expect many people to agree with me. I mean, this episode has a 9.9 on IMDb.
Yeah.
It has more people that have reviewed it than any of the other episodes, at least in this season. It's got like 27,000 people that have reviewed it. The next closest is like 19 or 20,000.
That's almost a 10 out of 10. It might as well be.
Right. It has a 9.9. So
and another thing is, I slightly agree with Adam. I don't fully agree with him.
Oh, I know. I was just hopefully trying to get you guys to look at it differently, but maybe not. But go ahead.
And I think, and like I said, it's not that I'm like hell-bent on the fact that it shouldn't have happened and I need it to be somebody else. I'm just saying,
bastard.
If Luke weren't in this, if they would have either written the story differently to where things played out differently, or somebody else came, we wouldn't know any better. It would have been just as special if we saw somebody else or the story went a different direction, because they've done such a good job so far. No matter what they did, it would have been special, especially to see any Jedi in general. It would have been special.
Yeah.
So
I survived the Clone Wars. Here I am.
I'm just so into this series being its own thing and introducing characters that we're not super familiar with, or at least in live action we're not super familiar with. I'm so into that. I really like that vibe, and I don't want this show to turn into something where they just keep injecting old characters and they keep doing the fan service thing. I don't want it to turn into that. Like, I'm okay with this. It's cool. I'm glad that we have Luke. It was definitely weird. I wish it didn't come off weird to me. But I'm happy to see it. And it makes sense. It does make sense, but I don't want the show to turn into something fan servicey, which I unfortunately feel like a lot of the most devout Star Wars fans unfortunately seem to like fan service more than they like good storytelling or good movie making.
I don't disagree with that either, but
they tend to sacrifice a good story for feeling good, for getting what they wanted.
True.
And I am not about that. I'm all about good filmmaking and good storytelling. And if I get a fan service, then hell yeah, that's awesome. If if it makes sense and it goes with the story and everything. But a lot of people just want the fan service, and I think it takes away from the story, especially for new people watching, because new people aren't going to have a connection with any of the other characters. So new people won't care about fan service. They want a good story. And if it sacrifices the story, the new people are going to be like, I don't get it. That's stupid. And so I just want it to continue making sense and continue expanding the world and continuing to be special. I don't want this to be the start of roping in the Skywalker saga and injecting other characters.
I agree with that.
I'm okay. I'm okay with this and how it turned out. If it were somebody else, I think it would still be a bomb episode. It would still be good. We wouldn't
just as well.
We'd be none the wiser. Like we wouldn't know any better.
We would be none the wiser. You're right. And
let's be honest.
Yeah.
Even the scene with Pedro Pascal taking a helmet off was just powerful enough to drive the end of the episode.
Oh, we were going to get into that too, obviously, but like I was saying, I don't think that this was that fan service. Now, if next season is every episode is about Luke Skywalker and what Grogu are doing, then I'm gonna be pretty pissed. And I'm with you, Adam. But I just think
Han Solo shows up, Lando
they have them all, right?
They just all show up.
Yeah, the deepfake.
I will take a shit on the series.
I thought the deepfake looked good. I didn't think it looked that good. You cannot do it all the time, and they used it sparingly enough to where I was like, okay, it's fine for what they wanted to execute.
That's why I was okay with the deep fake. They were sparing about it.
Yeah, they didn't throw it in your face all the time. Yeah.
That's the key, and that's what I worry about is what happens with the story in the future, because I hope that they do not overdo this. That is
Here comes young Carrie Fisher.
That drives a lot of this feeling, this opinion that I have for me is I'm also kind of tentative about how they're going to proceed. How if we get reintroduced to Grogu in the future in this series, which I think we all hope we do, because he basically owns this series.
Right. Oh, I want to see him again.
It's like I hope they don't overdo the deep fake thing.
Oh, yeah. You just made me think of a meme, or not a meme, a tweet that Giancarlo.
That's right, that tweet. Yeah. But yeah, listen. So let's get into this moment between the child and Din Djarin here. This
powerful
final moment that is very powerful. Literally, the heart. I was a puddle of goo, to say the least. I mean, it was awesome to see, but
I made a puddle of goo.
I was a puddle of goo.
I tell you, man. I mean, when the child just reaches out and like. To me, it's the child asking him, "Let me see your face before I go," and touches his face, and Din Djarin takes off the helmet, and just the way that Ludwig's score just swells around this, it's awesome, and the way that Pedro Pascal again doesn't say a whole lot, says a little bit, don't be afraid, that line was so good, and R2 showing up, Adam, your favorite character, that was that.
I was about to bring this up. I feel like R2 got snubbed. Everybody was so focused on Luke that we completely glossed over the fact that R2 showed up.
We did not.
No.
And I'm pretty sure I got more excited when I saw R2 come out from behind him and he started doing his beeps and his boops. I was like,
dude, I was like already tearing up quite a bit when Yoda or Grogu was touching Din Djarin's face. Then I saw R2 and I'm like, what are you doing to me?
How dare you make me cry like a little bitch.
And then Grogu going up to him and R2's all doing his thing, and I was like, oh, this is adorable. And then him walking away and the look Luke gave to Din Djarin where he's like, I got this, I'm taking care of you. And I also like the expression on his face where Grogu Luke picks up Grogu and he looks at him. You just know Luke just like, I'm gonna take care of this kid. This is one of the most adorable things I've ever seen. He gives that little nod to Din Djarin, like, "Don't worry, he's in good hands." And the way Pedro Pascal played it again, you just see the tears in his eyes as they're walking away. And I felt like I would feel in like the end of a classic Spielberg movie, like it just had those emotions to it. And like when they were walking away with the child and like getting on the elevator, and then it just ends, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so damned emotional. And the heart of the story is Din Djarin and the kid, and I think in that regard this was very effective. My fear, and Adam, you could talk about this, my biggest fear is that they've written themselves into a corner that they're not going to be able to get out of. But I think I can trust Favreau and Filoni enough to know that they have a plan. But we'll see.
And Dave Filoni's hat we trust.
Yes. Adam, anyway, what did you think of all that, though? I mean, you were kind of talking about R2, but...
Yeah, that was really a special moment between Grogu and Din Djarin. It was...
I thought you were going to say Grogu and R2.
I mean, it was, though.
Yeah.
He's all dancing around. I mean, that was so
awesome.
good and pure.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah, between Grogu and Din Djarin, I mean, that was very, very special. A little bit of a tearjerker. You know,
Very
you're
much.
sad to see them separate. Yeah, I'm very curious about where the story goes, but that's probably the purpose. They probably want you to be like, where do you go from here? Like,
Yeah.
I would assume that they wouldn't do this without having a plan for the future. I mean, I don't think that they would allow them to write themselves into a corner. So they definitely have to have a plan for the future. I'm just curious about what it is. And like I said, I hope that they don't overuse the deep fake thing.
No.
I hope Grogu gets worked back in organically, and when we do see him again, I hope it's very special. So I'm curious, and once again, if you want to give me R2 again, like, you can give me R2 again. I'm happy for that. Like, he's not a deep fake. Like, that sits better with me.
Yeah.
And it's like he can't even talk, so it doesn't feel too fan servicey because he's really just eye candy.
Yeah, definitely. Ian, go ahead. The moments with Din Djarin and Grogu and the finale and how it all ended.
I cried. I cried.
Yeah,
I cried.
too.
I cried. But now that we're kind of going over this again for technically a second time, I have to point out, I have to give a lot of props to all these actors that had to talk to this small puppet. I mean, like, I feel like talking to like older Yoda puppet would have been like, okay, this feels more realistic. Where it's like you're talking to this small puppet of Grogu, and you're just like, I feel weird. I feel like it would feel really weird. So for them to be able to keep composed and talk to this puppet, and make these emotions for this puppet was awesome. And I have to give them so much for props, because I feel like every time I would be like, I'm gonna miss you, little buddy. I'd be laughing every single time.
Yeah.
Feeling awkward and shit. So I mean, like, all in all, this episode powerful. The ending, absolute tearjerker, and props to these actors, hands down. This season was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the credits roll, and then we have this post-credit scene.
Yes.
Let's talk about that too. Oh yeah, I mean, again, season.
Let's talk about how trash Boba Fett is, Mark.
So yeah, we get this post-credit scene. The first thing I saw, Jabba's palace. I was like, "That's Jabba's palace." That I felt like Forrest Gump. That's Lieutenant Dan. They move into you see Jabba's palace, and you walk in. It looks like Jabba's palace. Then we see Bib Fortuna on the throne. It looks like Big Fortuna went back after the explosion and ate Jabba's carcass because he got fat. But he was sitting on the throne, and he's like, "Oh, Boba, I thought you were dead," all that kind of stuff. And then Boba he doesn't even hesitate, he just shoots the motherfucker, right? Like that was yeah. So this sounds like, and then we get the tease of the Book of Boba Fett, which is a series coming out in 2021, right around the same time as the Mandalorian season 3. Yeah, Boba Fett being the crime boss, the biggest crime boss in the galaxy, give it to me. I'm down. I mean, after what they've kind of set up with him, yeah, give it to me. It's going to be cool. I want to see Cobb Vanth also come back for that series. It's going to seemingly take place in Tatooine. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Adam, what'd you think of the post-credit?
Oh yeah, it was badass. I'm into it. I'm very into it. Something I was gonna say earlier. Is it just me, or does Boba Fett look weird with like brand new painted armor?
Oh, I
He
love
looks
the
weird.
clean look.
It almost looks plastic.
Dude,
He looks weird.
He went
That's
over
me.
to the
I feel
Emerald
the same.
City and got buffed out, man. I love how it looks.
I don't. I mean, it's just
Buffed
it's
out with a dad bod.
nitpicky. It's nitpicky at this point, but
Maybe. I loved it.
I think he looks badass when his armor is all torn up and battle
Oh, yeah?
tested. I think it's really
Well, I
cool.
think
So
the
when he
new
popped up
armor
on
is
the
trash.
I don't mind it being
Mark.
clean. I just question how in the hell did he get it so clean? Because that armor's old as fuck, and it's been like all wrecked for a long time. So.
It literally looks like fresh plastic. Like
Yeah.
that was my first reaction when I saw it. I was like, it totally looks like plastic. Like it's like so solid and perfect looking.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
like
so
the look.
bizarre. I'm so used to him being all beat up and everything. I mean, it is what it is. It's not like
It's not
I ain't whining
anything
about
that
it.
ruins
Yeah,
anything.
I just think he looks badass when his armor is all beat up.
Yeah. Ian,
I agree.
What'd you think of the post-credit scene?
You know, I saw it and I was just like, this character is trash. Okay, I'm done poking at you, Mark. I loved it. I mean, like, I love the idea that we're getting a Boba Fett book or TV show, and I love the fact that we're gonna touch base on his own miniseries. Honestly,
A book of
like
Boba
again,
Fett.
the book of Boba Fett. I love the fact that we're gonna touch base on this because again, this gives fans a reason to actually be fanboys and fangirls over Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I maybe I'll become a huge fanboy. I mean, like I got a fucking mug of his fucking head. I mean, I like Boba Fett. I don't hate Boba Fett at all. I love Boba Fett. I don't think I love him to the extent that fans do. I think I was always excited to see Boba Fett again. I kind of made my statement like, oh, I could have done without it, but I'm glad I got it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things. So it's awesome that we're seeing Boba Fett.
Yeah, what they might do is they might adapt Josh Trank's
Mao.
original movie script.
Now,
They might adapt Josh Trank's original movie script. They were supposed to announce a Boba Fett movie. I don't know. It was right around the
Did
time.
you see that?
that looked like a big old kitty.
She just walked up here and she stole the cap to my water and jumped down and ran away.
I missed that. I'm so sorry I did. Oh, it's on
Every
video.
single time.
It's on video. I
Every
can
single
watch it.
time. None of my waters ever have caps because when I'm not looking, she picks it up with her mouth and runs away with it. She's got them hidden all over this apartment.
Well, I'll have to watch it whenever it comes on. But so I love the what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Josh Trank script. I'm sorry. They were gonna announce that back when around the time Solo was coming out. And yeah, so I wonder if they'll take some of that material and adapt it. Actually, I don't think they can because I think that one was supposed to take place concurrently with the Solo timeline. So never mind. But either way, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. I'm excited to see who's going to direct this thing. There were rumors a long time ago that James Mangold was going to direct a Boba Fett movie, so that'd be cool to see him come in and do it. I would like Robert Rodriguez to get that gritty style. I think that'd be pretty cool. But we'll see. Hey guys, so listen, that's been the end of this. Thank you for joining. I mean, this is an awesome discussion. I mean, I love this season of Mandalorian. Adam, you got a final closing statement there that you want to say before we go?
Good stuff. Don't screw it up.
And Ian, you got a final closing statement that you want to say before we go on this?
Fantastic season. I loved it. I loved seeing Ahsoka. I thought seeing Boba Fett was amazingly trash.
Good lord.
Okay, now I'm really done poking at you, Mark. I loved seeing Boba Fett. I loved seeing everybody come back. Even though the deep fake bothered me a little bit, it didn't bother me too much. And I am happy that we did get to see Luke. All in all, survey question here. Who's cuter, Grogu or balding Ian?
Yeah.
Answer in the comments below.
Yeah, do that.
Thanks.
For sure. Yeah, but listen, guys, I think that it's great to see that Star Wars is definitely we're we're back in a good place. I always knew. I don't think that there was ever a reality where Star Wars did not come back out on top. It's the biggest franchise of all time. Whether it's making the most money in the world is a different thing, but as far as just the way it's creating conversations and the way that it has their fans on board, I think that Star Wars will always come back out on top. It's just a fact. And here we are. Big win for Star Wars. Great season. Thank you for joining the discussion today. I've been Don Martino as always. Adam, where can the people find you?
At The Red Eclectic on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, your mom's house.
Hey, you better be here. I can't wait to see you.
And Ian, I thank you for joining. Thanks for joining, Adam. And Ian, I thank you for joining. And where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube under jewtacularian. And also, pro tip for the survey question: the answer is Ian.
All right. And I've been Don Martino once again, and thank you guys for joining. I really appreciate it. My social media will be in the description below, along with these fellas. I'll be putting that in the description below as well. Hey, by the way, like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comments section, and share this with your friends if you haven't done all that already.
Do the survey question.
Wonderful to have you guys join us for this discussion. Thank you again to Adam and Ian. It's been way too long, boys, since we've talked some Star Wars, all three of us. So
I agree.
This was a lot of fun. So thank you for joining again, and I hope you guys out there had fun with it. And I've been Don Martino. This has been another episode of Dom's Corner, and we will see you guys next time. Real quick though, this week's going to be a little weird with the holiday season. We got the Wonder Woman 84 going on. I don't know what else is going to happen. It's going to be a weird schedule, but we'll get back on track. I know things have been rough, but after the holidays, things will get back on track. So thank you guys for joining. I've been Don Martino, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.